What's up, everybody? Welcome to the original Next Level Gaming Podcast. Welcome in on this great Sunday night. Everybody wave, except for the guy who is an avatar. He can't wave tonight.
Oh, it's not Frankie either.
Well, he can't
It's not Frankie either. So, Frankie is out tonight. However, as you can see, he's taking up lower middle square, which in Hollywood Squares doesn't mean anything, actually. He is our special guest for tonight, the man with the million, Rand Al Thor. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Mike? How you guys doing? How's the panel doing tonight? You guys all doing good?
Evening.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
It has been an age since you've been on last.
Yeah, it's been a good June of last year, I believe.
Which is almost a year ago, and it's too long, way too long. But you've been busy with your own stuff.
Yeah. I mean, in the meantime, I started my own YouTube channel. Got a couple series going on, Rand's Rants and Rand's Indie Spotlight. But yeah, keep him busy with that. Keep him busy with TXR. And I just want to make mention, I see the Boston Hammer in chat, so...
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Inferno? The Boston Hammer? That's my nickname for Mike. He doesn't like that at all, which is why I always use it every single time. As much as I can.
Inferno's a good guy. We were... I think we were. Was he on? He was on. Yeah, that's right. He was on with me on Thursday too. So, we were on Brap. Was it him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was him. I get never because he doesn't have his name in it.
Out.
Well, because he doesn't have his name in it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Inferno. So yeah, we had we were on Brap together on Thursday night. So it's good to see him in the chat. So I was about to have you go through all that. So I'm glad you did. Those rants have become some great listening material. And your indie spotlights and reviews and stuff are also really great. So your channel is awesome, and I find it funny because I think I joke with these guys that I listen to one of your something happens in gaming. I write down how I feel about it because I want to talk about it on Sunday night. Then I listen to your video, and then I go, shit, I can't talk about that now because that's exactly how I feel. And now Rand's gonna think I'm stealing off of him. So
I don't do anything. I don't do anything special on YouTube. My computer is like 6 years old, so I just grab an image, got a microphone, and I just sit and I talk. And I'm sure it's been done to death, but this past week was pretty big, so I covered all the Scorpio stuff. But I really like doing the Rand's Indie Spotlight because there are a lot of good games that get overlooked that nobody really knows about that come out. And I mean that's kind of on Microsoft and the way the store's set up, because you have 8 games that come out in a week. How's anybody supposed to know the difference between any of them? And none of the big sites will cover them. So I mean, I'm just one person, so I try to do my best to at least give my impressions of the game after I played it for a few hours, or review the game if I beat it, along with some videos, so people can make up their own decisions about the game or not.
Well, the nice thing is you play a lot of the indies anyway, so you've got a pretty good idea of what's good and what isn't.
Yeah. Like I recently just put up a video tonight for Talent Not Included, which honestly surprised me about how fun it is. It's like a local co-op action platformer game with a heavy emphasis on platforming and collecting candies to keep a multiplier going so you can get the top score. It's actually quite a lot of fun.
Well, it sounds right up my alley by the name.
Yeah, it's a really cool game. It's got local co-op too, so you can play with 2 people if you wanted to. But
never even heard of it, and that's the sad part. You're right. I mean, I have not heard of it.
Yeah, it just came out this past week, so I finally got around to making a video for it and stuff because, basement flooding, school, it's hard to get around playing all the games that come out, but I try my best to do so.
Well, somebody's got to get to 2 million.
That ain't gonna be me. That's not gonna be me.
So, won't be me, that's for sure.
Well, I gotta ask you, because this was a question that we were trying to figure out on Thursday night too, and I think we've asked this question as well when we've seen you in chat and we've mentioned your gamer score. How many people actually have crossed 1 million? I thought originally it was just you and Ray Stallion.
Yeah, that's kind of a common misconception because I get people that message me about that. So when I broke it at E3, I was the 3rd in the United States, and I was 5th in the world. However, I would have been if Phil didn't offer me the opportunity to do it at E3, which I would have been dumb to turn down, right?
Yeah.
I would have been 2nd in the United States and like 4th in the world. So waiting the 6 months, a couple people passed me up. I believe I'm still 3rd for now in the United States, but I'm 7th in the world. But I want to say there's at least 15 people, because the way with the indie games, how they are now, every game's 1,000. There's a lot of easy points you can accumulate now. You know Beard, right?
Ben-Hur.
Beard.
Yeah, Beard. Ben-Hur.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of Ben-Hur.
He put up 90,000. He put up like 85,000 points in February.
Right.
Just all games on the Xbox One, all super easy. So gamer score has been devalued, but
Sure.
I mean, I don't really think it has much value anyways. I never did. But there are a lot of people climbing up the charts based on the multitude of easy indie games that are released every week.
You're right. It has become devalued. I think it's I've been gaming forever. I haven't cracked 70,000 yet, and I know I play a pretty good amount of games, but I just
I'm the same way. It's like, I think I'm approaching 80K. So
Yeah, what was it? I was.
maybe I should follow Beard and just add another 80K in a month.
Yeah, I think I was around 80,000 when I decided to actually put in a lot of effort to get achievements to hit the 100,000. And then once I hit that, I kind of eased off again. Like, yeah, whatever. I hit the 100.
My problem is I spend too much time with things that don't equate to it. Like I've got 800 hours in Elite Dangerous, and it's super stingy with achievements. Or I've got I don't know how many hours doing Rivals events in the different Forzas, and there's just nothing for that. So it's not something I really think about.
Yeah, same thing with Ghost Recon. We're playing multiplayer, and there's only so many points you can get.
Yeah.
well, but
As long as we're having fun. That's what matters
and
to
every
me.
once in a while, it is nice to see one pop.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh, I'll tell you, I'm in love with the rare achievement pop. I love
Oh,
that
I
thing.
love that too.
Oh yeah, the rare stuff is really really cool. Like knowing you get an achievement that not a lot of people have. I've wanted them to. I talked to Yabar for a long time about adding something like that, and I remember the day before they went live, he was like, "Rare achievements tomorrow," and I'm like, "Oh, come on!" You're like, "Thanks," but yeah, that 9% and below, and it's got the diamond thing with the special chime.
Yeah.
It
Chime
really
is
makes it
amazing.
seem special,
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I
yeah.
kind of wish they integrated it more with True Achievement. So that's when you get rid of the the easy games and
Yeah.
the easy 1,000. So
Well, like I said, at this point, I just like to see them pop. I don't know. I don't know if I can even, because I don't keep the achievement tracker on. And the same thing with trophies. I just like to see them pop up. I don't necessarily want to go after them. I don't necessarily want to try to, like, these guys that their life is platinuming games on the PS4. I don't have time for that, much less anything else. And same with
I say more power to them.
absolutely, if they can do it, that's how Rand. That's how you got there. You buckled down and ran at it. I mean, I couldn't do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit different now. I'm a lot more busier than I used to be, and but yeah. I mean, look. Some people have asked me like, well, what do you consider a good gamer score? And I was just like, whatever you got.
Right.
If
That's
you
a
got
great answer.
5,000, that's good. If you got 100,000, that's great. Like I've never said just because someone has more points than the other person that the other person is terrible or anything. I know there are some people that think like that. I know a couple people in the top range who literally think they're better than everybody else because they have a higher gamer score, even though they are some of the worst gamers I've ever met in my life. So,
Well, let me ask the question you must have been asked 100 times. What's your favorite achievement?
favorite achievement. Well, I guess that's an easy one. The achievement I got for hitting 1 million with, which was completing Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, defeating the campaign.
Nice.
Nice.
I
that's
and I
pretty
watched
sweet.
that. I watched
Yeah, I
that
think I watched E3 too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of
No,
fuzzy last year was.
because I remember it, and I it was like really cool. It's surreal when it's somebody that you know. You know, and that's what's really neat is that it's somebody that good guy that that you've been friends with on Twitter. He's been you've been here, and it's just like it was like just it was nice to see, and so I was really glad to be able to at least watch it and feel like
Funny story though is it wasn't supposed to be Ori. So they gave me originally it was supposed to be Halo 5. See, that's when I had the production calls for E3. It was all going to be around Halo 5. It was for beating Legendary. I'd saved one of those walk and talk levels, the ones where you just go talk to somebody.
Oh,
Like
right.
I had saved. I'd done all the levels on Legendary except the shortest one. So I was just going to do that, and I was like, okay, that's easy enough, right? And then it was supposed to be during live. It was supposed to be live with Jessica Chobot and Phil. It was supposed to happen during that live segment. And then I get there that day, and they're like, oh, we changed it to Ori. I'm like, well, that's going to be a little bit harder. The end sequence in Ori is a tad bit more difficult than walking to somebody in Halo. And then they're like, oh, by the way, it's not going to be live. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. And then originally it was also supposed to be like me, Jessica. I was supposed to do it, and then I was get the achievement, and then come sit with Phil and Jessica, and like have this like interview or whatever, talk with Phil. And then they're like, "Oh, by the way, we're not going to mic you up, and you're going to go out there for a minute, and that's it. And don't talk to Phil, and don't look at the camera. Look at Phil." I'm like, "Oh, okay. So pretty much everything changed. Awesome."
Don't talk to Phil. Whatever you do, don't talk to Phil.
Don't make eye contact.
That
Don't
would be
make
hard
eye
for me
contact.
to do.
What the hell does that mean?
That was their thing. Don't look at
first
the
thing
camera. Don't
First thing
talk
I'd do is run and talk to Phil, like, oh, I never got this chance ever. I'm doing it now.
Well, it was funny because the way they did it on the show was like, oh, and this is the first time you guys have met, and it's like, no, I mean, we met in real life like that Monday before, but they were like, oh, it's the first time you guys have met, and it's just like, no, but I don't know, it's still a cool thing because hey, I got to take a picture with Jessica Chobot, so it's all worth it.
Yeah.
There
Which,
you go.
no offense to Phil.
No offense to Phil.
So that's great, man. And so I obviously the idea wasn't to grill you about your achievements. It was just it's always cool because your experience is really cool, and so it's neat for you to tell it to people who haven't heard it yet. So welcome aboard, man. I'm glad that you could join us tonight. It's kind of a good night to have you.
Ready to talk some gaming, some Scorpio,
Yeah.
ready to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's do it.
Excellent. So for the rest of the panel, Peter, how you doing this week?
Oh, fantastic.
The hell happened to
Happy-
your nationals?
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah.
Dude, you can keep Jeremy Guthrie. That's all I got to say. There's a reason he's not an Oriole anymore.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, what have you been up to game wise?
Played some Thimbleweed.
Which we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, and played some more Horizon Zero Dawn. And, of course, some Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon.
So, yeah, my game of choice.
Yeah. How is it that it's another Ubisoft game that somehow is creeping into your Game of the Year conversation?
I have no idea.
Last year it was The Division.
It's just
This year it's Ghost Recon.
Yeah, The Division was my 2016 Game of the Year, just because of the sheer fun we're having, and now the same thing with Ghost Recon.
I
mean, the year is still young, so anything can happen.
I sense a theme. So,
So,
all right, cool, man. Jason, what's up, man?
Not much. I went to the Leaf game last night, like I told you earlier. I don't know, I had that on my mind like all week, So excited to watch him clinch a playoff berth, in person. Better than TV.
Oh God, thank God, Frankie's not here tonight, so we could talk sports.
Sports.
Shannon, how are you?
I'm tired right now.
Do I still see a hint of turquoise in your hair?
Yes.
Just a hint.
Just a hint. So, how's the hockey
Yeah,
league?
no, I worked 12 hours last night. I'm working 12 hours again tonight. So.
Oh, that's just wrong.
Godspeed.
Yeah, between you and Juan, I can't. I don't like either of your jobs. I don't even work
I
there.
love my job.
yeah, look at the thrilling look on his face.
I love my job.
He loves his job. He has to tell himself that every day when he wakes
Every
up. I love my
day.
job. I love my job. I love my job.
Every day. What you
Look,
been?
my job's giving me
I
my
like
Scorpio,
that. I
so
do love my
I love
job.
my job.
All right. Well,
No,
there
I'm
is
saying
that.
that for Juan.
Oh,
You haven't been playing
it's
much
just some
this
of my
week, though.
coworkers I don't love.
Well, that happens everywhere. So, you haven't been playing much this week, Jason.
No, I played a little bit of Ghost Recon the other night. God of War, I played that yesterday. Like God of War 3 remastered. Some Horizon Zero Dawn. That's about it this week. I don't know. I just haven't been in the mood to do anything. It's just one of those weeks, you know?
No, I've had those. Speaking
I
of
was
one of
kinda
those,
I was more interested in, keeping an eye on the news because, when that, Scorpio stuff started coming out, it's like, oh, this is interesting. So I just kind of kept my eye on that.
interesting's a good word for it.
That's interesting.
Speaking of interesting, what's up, Nathan?
It's a good question. I have to be interesting now, so I have to think of something clever to say.
I don't. Yeah.
I'm like, thanks for putting me out there. No,
Are you growing a beard?
no. It's dark, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Is it me? I'm looking. You look at this. I'm looking like I'm trying. Like I can see you in 3 dimensions.
I think that's what Call of Duty 2 does to you.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to go back. With the facial hair.
Right.
But no, that was an awesome game. So I'm glad I'm playing it again.
All right. So what's that behind you this week? That's all lit up.
Looks like JD.
Yep, JD.
That's what I thought it was.
All right. Bring it forward. We got to see your toys.
I think he's got like a new toy every week back
Yeah.
there.
He does.
Yeah,
that's-
I figured
that's
I'd
neat.
just split it up and put one back there.
All right. That's pretty damn cool.
That is cool.
Where does he get all these wonderful toys?
That was on sale on Amazon too, $50 with the game.
I think he swipes them from people when they're not looking.
Yeah.
I tried.
like-
See, I got to keep things interesting.
Like salt and pepper shakers.
Yeah.
Man, you got to steal salt and pepper shaker from like Disneyland. You're like, yeah.
Stuffs it up his shirt and like you got this weird thing like this coming out like,
Glowing.
oh, it's just
Yeah.
my chest. It's just my chest.
My chest is backlit.
Yeah, my chest is back.
Hey, come on, man. Did you ever see the movie Tron?
Yeah, dude, come on. But yeah, but Call of Duty 2 and Ghost Recon, obviously, is what I've been doing.
Yeah.
But I've been excited about today, so.
Yeah, we see some great Call of Duty streams from you. Thank you for putting those up. We're gonna get those on the YouTube channel as soon as I can. So,
Thanks, Phil, for backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I love those campaigns. The Call of Duty 2, I think World at War was probably my favorite though.
those old campaigns were so much nicer.
And they were harder too. I had more of a challenge doing it
I
on
died so
veteran.
many times. If you want to watch Nate die,
I might have to disagree with you on that. I think
Uh-oh.
Infinite Warfare's campaign might be up there with any of the best Call of Duty campaigns.
no, I can
That
do
was a
that.
good one. I like
Yeah,
that.
that was a good one.
I was surprised by it actually.
It wasn't as hard as the old ones, but it was as good as the old ones.
Yeah, well, if you remember Call of Duty World at War on veteran, probably the worst campaign to play through. Am I the only one who played through it on veteran?
I played through it and it took me a while to get through it.
I want to say that I
I
did, but I
did
don't
2 on
recall.
veteran. I think 3 almost. I think.
Oh, the grenade spam. They would literally throw grenades at you every 2 seconds. Right where
Yeah.
you're oh my,
And
it
it
was the
felt like-
worst.
It felt like the spawning of the enemies never stopped in some spots too. It was horrible.
Yeah.
That's why it
Grenade
took me like
spam.
a year to do it.
The grenade spam was actually worse than I think Tomb Raider on higher difficulties because that was pretty spammy as well. But I think the Infinite, or not Infinite Warfare, but the old Call of Duty was worse.
But I tell you that when I finished World at War on veteran and got the achievement, I was happy. It was one of those happy times.
Well, I can listen to Kiefer Sutherland anytime in a video game. So.
This is true. Him and Michael Ironside
Yeah, and
Yep.
Nathan Fillion, I'm game.
and Nathan Fillion. That's got some of my intrigue into Destiny too. I know I was told he was in Destiny because I didn't play Destiny long enough to know he was in it. But then I saw him in Destiny 2, and I'm like, because I enjoyed him in the Halo series, ODST, and then 5. So, and just in general as an actor, I like him. So.
Don't forget Nolan.
Oh yeah, Nolan. I like Nolan.
I've only seen him in Shadow Complex, but he was good in that.
Well, right. Obviously, we've seen him in more.
Oh, he wants to say hi. Somebody wants to say hi.
What's up? Hey, Trent, what's up, man?
What's up, little dude?
What's going on?
It's Mini Modzoo.
Yes.
Wave to him.
We teaching him how to game yet?
Oh, he knows how to game. I don't
All
have
right,
to worry about
more than Minecraft, right?
More than Minecraft? Do you play anything else besides Minecraft?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Oh, hey, there we go.
That is not.
That's
not
how
great.
Modzoo get his gamer score up.
Yeah, that's exactly how I get my gamer.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. That's how. My
how
gamer
Mike gets
score.
it.
My gamer score might be a hair bit inflated thanks to a little Lego Marvel superheroes and stuff, which isn't played by me. So.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right, have a good night.
Night.
Man.
Have a
Peace,
good
bro.
night, buddy.
Go to bed, YouTube.
Yeah, go to bed.
Yeah. Go far so I can so we can reprimand your parents for letting you play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Like I say, I own basically all my games digital, and they just play whatever, on the other one. So they got a big list of games. Actually, some games, to be honest, I've hid them from the profile, so they can't play.
Gotcha.
Kept trying more kid-friendly games.
Cool.
That's a
They
good
have that
point.
timer stuff now too, right?
They do.
Yeah, I like the ability just to be able to hide all the games because they don't know the shortcut to unhide everything. So that I know of.
Yeah.
But every now
They
and
hide
then
it
I do go down and I check to see what games are installed. So
Oh man. All right, so we got to get to Juan. How you doing, Juan?
Evening. I'm beat.
I see.
Other than that, though, it's good. Gaming for the week was I Am Setsuna still. I'm kind of hung up on it because I keep taking it to work and then getting a short lunch or something, not having a chance. And like 3 times I've gotten to, I think I'm near the last boss, but then I, screw up and get wiped or whatever and, lose like an hour. The checkpointing at the end is pretty poor. So that's on the burner right now. Also, last week's Retro Rec was Jurassic Park, and having never finished it, I put 3 hours into playing through that on the Super NES version. And I won't say that I didn't enjoy it. I did, learn about the ship segment, and it's pretty much it can die in a fire. And it may be like the worst ending I've ever put in 3 hours for. It's so fantastic how bad it is. And I'm recording the video, and I play the game. I'm like, well, okay. It's like there it is. Basically, there's a mode 7 scrolling and rotating shot of what's to the island, and it's not any detail at all. It just has a big Jurassic Park stamped on it. It's actually the same one that you see before the game starts in the loading screen, or right
Nice.
as soon as it powers up. So a good portion of the ending you see before you start playing the game, like maybe 80% of it. And then it does a flyby, and then the screen comes up and says, "You have escaped Jurassic Park."
hey, that's an awesome ending.
I was like, wow, that was really worth 3 hours of my life. But I
Thanks
still
for
hold it
playing.
as-
And back
Right.
to the start menu.
Yep, I still hold it as a great. I still love having it in the collection because it's unique and it's one of the rare, mouse supporting SNES games. But wow, that ending! And then I fought with Forza for a bit, which was made for that good April Fool's joke. But we have a club mate. All-wheel drive all day has managed to take a few of my times. I had to go back and take them back, and it's been tough too because I lost my cars. So I'm I'm kind of just like trying to build new ones, and and within the the budget as I earn money, as opposed to the $7 million I was sitting on. But I took one back tonight, so I had that relieved feeling when I take back one of my top spots.
Nice.
So you don't have to pay somebody.
Right, and so that's mostly what I've been doing and following the news on the whole Twitter thing is, most when people see me on Twitter, it's because it's something I can do in downtime at work, in between calls or things like that. Although that may be coming to an end in the near future, so we'll see how that goes. But it might be the end of an era.
Just saying, it might be a good thing for you.
Maybe, who knows?
Take some stress off you.
I'm just saying. We love you. You know that. You're our boy. That's why you're here. The hell.
I'm a
love.
different person too on Twitter, just a little bit. I have kind of a direct way of speaking and voicing my opinion, which may be part of the Marine thing. But then when you confine that to 140 characters too, it gets rougher. So maybe it's probably, who knows? It could be for the best. But until they actually take it away from me.
From Brian, from your cold dead hands.
Right, exactly. I'll still be chiming in with my terrible opinions on Twitter.
I'll just be watching and going, oh shit.
Yeah, it's funny. I woke up one day, I checked my phone, I got like 100 notifications. I thought, did I win some sort of epic prize? And I got like all these people congratulating me. I look, all of a sudden I'm tagged in a follower thing.
Oh my god! So this was the
I'm getting like notifications every like 0.2 seconds for like an hour until I muted it.
This was the
test. I muted it too because otherwise,
this was the test of the new.
Fire.
This was the.
I feel like Twitter was trying to destroy Friday follows because they're just notify bombs now.
Well, now right. So this is the test of their new system where the 140 characters the tagging of people does not count. So you can tag all of Twitter, all 15 million people, and if we did that, we could bring Twitter down. So.
Yeah, probably. At least you don't have an at everyone tag.
I think it was Gabriel Ashley who started it, and then when we discovered what was going on, I was like, hey, what's happening here? We just started tagging in more people and just kind of see how big we get. You can get like 50 people going.
4 or 5 people just going, the hell is going on? I get into this.
They made my workday, I'm telling you.
Oh my god, it was horrible. It was
horrible. John didn't like the idea.
People's phones were crashing.
I wasn't tagged in that, so I missed it. Thank God.
Oh no, yeah,
we weren't gonna.
Yeah, because we like you. We weren't gonna do that to you. I'm telling you, the people's phone Twitter apps were crashing on them. It was nasty.
It was hilarious.
So I think we had 60 or 70 people.
And every time somebody replies to it, was like that terrible office email chain thing.
You guys should have tagged in an Inferno just to get them all angry. That'd been great. I would have paid you to do that.
Well, I'll see what I can do this Friday.
Oh no! We like him. We want to keep him happy. I want to have to get these DMs. What the hell are your people doing to me? Oh man! All right. So before we move on, I want to say hello and welcome to our freaking phenomenal, awesome chat room. It was as usual lit before we even got started. Of course, we got started late because I was messing with the windows again. But I got it down to a bigger science. We were only 10 minutes late instead of 15. I'm getting
progress.
There.
Progress.
So, but we want to welcome everybody in. I see some new people in there tonight, and some people that I know from other podcasts that I'm really glad you guys are checking us out tonight. We hope you like it. Do me a favor. I got to do the obligatory. Apparently, statistics say I'm supposed to say at the beginning, click the like button. So I'm saying click the like button. Of course, we get the dislikes that happen 3 hours before our podcast starts. So somebody's got to balance it out because people have no time in their hands. So
I know I've been told the same thing, Mike, about saying that stuff, but I always find it so when someone asks you, like, hey, watch the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe thing, but the video didn't even happen yet. What am I supposed to be liking?
Right.
So that's why I always, in my videos, I always do that at the very end. I never do. I just can't bring myself to do it at the beginning. I just think it's just so cringy. But that's
It
okay,
is.
How about this then? If you like Rand, hit that like button.
Even if you don't like the rest of us, just do me a favor.
Then again, we are half an hour into the show, so I guess it's not the beginning of the video. You're half hour in.
No, we are half hour in.
But if you like the introduction and babbling.
There are people that are like, hey, hit that like button. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. It's like, what's the video about? first.
Well, it's I'm talking about like we started the show and there was already like 7 dislikes. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
we haven't even opened up our mouths yet. So those are just people that just don't like us, that don't care. They just, I'm just gonna come in and dislike because I'm 5 years old. So it is what it is. Everybody gets them. And it's just it's the nature of the beast. So if I cared enough, it would bother me, but it doesn't. Because look at the chat room. I mean, seriously, look at the chat room. We got some unbelievable people in there. Like I said, we got a few new people, which hopefully you guys stick around and start hanging out with us. For those who are new, just a reminder that chat room is there for you, and as you see, it shows up in the podcast. So please be cognizant of what you're saying. We definitely want you to be part of the podcast. We definitely want you to participate. If we see a question or a comment or something that we want to bring into our conversation, we will and will address. But just please be respectful to each other, and talk games with us and have a good time. So, what do we got to talk about this week? There's not much going on.
I don't
Was
think
there
there's
any
any
news? I don't know.
Yeah,
There was
I
any
don't know.
news.
All right, Ghost Recon.
Right.
It was
Ghost
nice
Recon.
out today.
Yeah, Ghost Recon.
It was. Oh, it's beautiful. I
Sunshine.
I cut the grass. If that means anything. Oh, look at that.
That time. What
Hey.
is that?
What is that?
Something
We're not a
happened.
pet store.
Wasn't that a card game?
It's Microsoft's card game. That's fantastic.
Well, this is a 900p card.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. But it'll
All
scale.
cards come in
But it'll
4K.
scale to 4K.
Yeah, right. All cards coming for
It'll scale to 4K.
But
All
is
right.
it 4K assets? Hmm?
Oh,
Well.
my God.
Hmm?
That seems to be the question of the day.
Those are the Joker
Yes.
cards.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have been living under a rock, I don't know why you're watching our podcast because you have no idea it exists. But this
Hey, maybe
week,
the Rock has internet and some sort of monitor.
this could be true. You could still be in a submarine and listen to us.
Maybe they just wanted to learn from us.
We have a podcast for you.
Yeah, right. We have a
We have a podcast.
We have a
Nice.
podcast. Thank you. He'll be here all week. Try the veal. All right. So, obviously, we all know by now that this week, Eurogamer's Digital Foundry revealed the specs and some technical details of Project Scorpio. It was a deal they made with Microsoft to be the exclusive first ones out of the gate. And so Richard Ledbetter, in both text and video and very boring video format, gave us kind of the rundown on what this console is going to do. And then he got a really nice Forza Tech demo, kind of a I guess just a technical, just a tech demo. Not anything to do with Forza 7, which I think we all know is coming, but just some really, really good stuff. And so we've been talking about what we think the console is going to be, what we, want to see out of it, how we feel about it, and now we actually have some concrete info to go on. And I want to get, everybody's thoughts, and I want to kind of re-gauge everybody's enthusiasm level for Project Scorpio, knowing what you know now, and then we'll give some of that information away while we're talking. Some of the things that we saw, and I'm going to start up, just show some slides here while we're talking. So according to Richard, what we have, and actually I'll tell you what we'll do, because just to give everybody sort of a quick idea, and I want to focus mostly on
What kind of card game is this? I'm confused.
poker team.
Doesn't take much to confuse you, Nate.
Yeah, so
Maybe a graphics card game.
yeah, so here we have the specs and how they stack up against the current crop of consoles. And if you're technically savvy, this relates to you or this interests you. If you're not, we can kind of break it down in layman's terms. But basically, what we have is a customized CPU. Which Microsoft likes to do that. They like to customize their CPUs. This is nothing new for them. They've been doing it since the Xbox 360. So their engineers got together with, I'm assuming, AMD, and redesigned. Everybody, I don't know. You guys can give me your thoughts on whether you even care what the CPU name is. I know everybody was throwing around Ryzen, throwing around Zen, throwing around this, that. I think if you put these things in a room with 5 people, they couldn't tell you which one is which anyway. So this is probably a Jaguar CPU that's been highly customized. Personally, I don't care. But Microsoft does definitely like to customize their CPUs. The GPU is also highly customized. It sits in the middle of 12 gigs of DDR5 memory with a 326 gig bandwidth, which is insanely high. And the GPU is actually clocked well above, if you look at the Xbox One and the PS Pro, well above either of those. And so, obviously you need Chernobyl to power this thing and to keep it cool. So they are doing a liquid cooling style vapor solution inside with a blower fan in the back. There won't be any top vents. It's going to come with a terabyte drive, which is good. That's that should be the normal. And much like the Xbox One S, it is coming with a 4K UHD Blu-ray drive. So,
are the games going to be bigger because they're in 4K though?
I would assume
if they get 4K textures.
Good question.
Yeah, I would assume
so. I'm just curious about the 1 terabyte. It's like,
Well, and Rain City Gamer said he called it an evolved Jaguar, so yes. But it's still highly, highly customized, and that's the thing. I think we have to get away from the mistake that gets made is people think this is like the original Xbox, where they just took a Pentium 3 chip off the shelf, threw it into a box, and threw some memory in it, called it console. Microsoft hasn't done that for a while now. The Xbox 360 was customized, the Xbox One was customized, this is customized. I think we have to kind of pull back from just saying, oh, it's a Jaguar CPU, therefore it sucks ores. I think we have to get past that.
Yeah, because they add features for from the next CPU in there, or the one after that. The same thing with the PlayStation 2. It's not, it's what you said. It's not like an off-the-shelf chip.
Yeah, like looking at all that gibberish you got up on screen there, Mike. That doesn't excite me.
Nah, me either. But
I don't understand any of it, and I won't pretend to. Like, I'm not gonna get out there and be like, yeah, I know exactly what a Jaguar core is, or I know what 6 teraflops do, because I don't know my flops or my flips or any of that stuff. So when I talked about it, I talked about the things that I thought were cool. Were like every game is gonna be better in some way. Whether they're like dynamic resolutions, games will be bumped up to 4K. I think that's really cool. Whether, if a game has a frame rate problem and it dips to like 27 now, that game might run at lock 30. Or if it has a variable frame rate, it might be locked at 60. Like actual tangible benefits to the games that you're currently enjoying or haven't enjoyed yet because they're in the backlog. Like that excites me. And then the addition of, just like the PS4 Pro, the performance mode or resolution mode, depending on the developers, whether they want to have that type of stuff, where you could play it in 4K 30 or play it in 1080p 60. Like those are really cool things, because when you get right down to it, the Scorpio's not going to have any exclusives. Period. They're in a tough position to sell this to people because Crackdown 3 is going to be on Scorpio and also on Xbox One regular, right? So they need to tell people and explain to people why they need to upgrade their system when you can get the same experience on the platform you already own, right? So I think all those things where Scorpio makes things better, improves your backlog, maybe your gaming experience is a cool thing that they can try to market. Because I think 4K is just really a buzzword. I don't particularly care for resolution. Like when everybody was talking about, oh well, your game sucks because it's in 720p.
Quantum Break.
I was still enjoying the game. I wouldn't. If you asked me what the resolution of whatever game is, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But if you ask me what the frame rate is of that game, I sure as hell will be able to tell you what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I've never enjoyed a game less because of the resolution. But
No,
like
I
you say,
mean,
frame rate is the big thing. You know, the smoother the game plays, the better, experience you have because, you're not watching the stuttering or whatever. Screen tearing was brought up in chat. That's the thing I'd love them to fix.
Yep.
Hopefully this fixes it.
And so it does for even for 1080p users because they force VSync. And yeah, so obviously, Rand, I agree with you. I think that I put the specs up because obviously that's what we got. The people you talked about it in your last Rand's rant where it came from the media, and a lot of gamers are doing it too. Specs are fine, but where are the games? But that wasn't what this reveal was about. This was about the specs. This is for, and again, I'm going to continue to. I will stand by this until I'm done podcasting. This more than anything else is Microsoft's apology console to gamers.
I accept.
This is the we realized we didn't give you what you wanted in 2013, so here it is now.
Didn't you expect the Digital Foundry to come out with like new gameplay that we've never seen before? Don't we see it all the time from them?
No, not yet because
/S.
/S.
Sarcasm. I mean, what did people expect from Digital Foundry? They talk tech stuff. They show you frame rates. Of course. They show you the resolution of games, and that's about it. They don't come out with anything new. They don't go, oh, here's a brand new game you never heard of. We got the exclusive here. Yeah. They don't do that.
Did any of you watch the dive onto Forza that aired today?
Yeah.
I watched a bit of that, yeah.
And really, they weren't showing anything on the Scorpio. They were simply showing Apex on a PC and what you should expect from Scorpio.
Yeah.
Right, but I think that's a good start. And when I was watching it, I was intrigued. I was watching. I'm like, okay, this is pretty much stuff we've already gotten. There wasn't a whole lot of new news, and obviously it's not actually on Scorpio. But the one part that stood out for me was when they had a shot of Forza Horizon 3 on the Xbox One, and they had the PC version, and you could see the difference between them. And if I can get that difference on my, large screen TV from my console, where I just walk up, turn it on, and I don't have to do the PC gaming thing, I'm sold. I'm in for it. It looked, that difference I think is marketable. It's visible.
Yes, it is.
The load times too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I look at the stuff they have shown us, and the rumor going around about a possibly 4K and up textures and such on Recore, I would be into that. I would play that game again.
I'd probably actually go back because I played it for like 3 hours and stopped. But yeah, that'd be the idea of Scorpio enhancing your older games, because the load times in that game were. I haven't played it since the patch, but when I originally played it, the load times in that game were atrocious.
They were Doom-esque.
I haven't really played much of Doom either, so that'd be a game I'm gonna go back and play.
I'm not the only one.
That would be that would be one to go back to, because they would take advantage of the whole not dynamic thing.
With Doom, that came out at a bad time because I was limited on points, and it came out, and I really wanted to play it, but I couldn't score any points because E3 was like the following month. But then I'm the type of person who's like, I'm playing a game, it's a new game, I don't go back, so it's hard for me to go back to games I passed up on, because usually I just play everything that's out right now. But I have a considerable backlog that I would want to go back and play, which I probably will. But I mean, you're right. This is the console Microsoft. Well, they obviously couldn't make it in 2013, but yeah, this is the console basically saying, or they're saying, hey, we screwed up. We're sorry we gave Sony a 30% advantage in every single game ran better on their platform, and that's one of the reasons why they dominate. We're sorry for that.
Wait, that's not what I heard. I heard it was the lineup.
Oh, you mean it was Knack and Killzone?
It was Knack and Killzone. That's why it wasn't power. No, the casual market they didn't hear anything about power from word of mouth or advertising or anything like that. And power had nothing to do with it.
It was it was
the Force Connect.
Right.
The $100.
No, so look,
MS did screw up. MS screwed up in a lot of ways, but I do not approve of the revisionist. Resolution gate didn't happen. Power wasn't a thing. Just come right off of that.
Well, but that so for me, that's not the sole factor in what happened either. I mean,
no, it certainly was not all, and I will definitely say
really big.
It's one of a bunch of factors, but obviously, this is Microsoft basically saying we're not going to lose the power crown anymore. We want on our system either every game to be as good as on PlayStation or better. We are not going to have stories about how this game is way worse. Or, they're basically saying this is it. Like we're going after power because we don't want Digital Foundry or anybody else to if we're going to lose based on the first party games that come out if they're good or not. We're not going to lose on Destiny was 20% worse or whatever was 900p. Like they're going to lose strictly on pricing and the lineups and stuff where all the multiplats are on equal footing. But it's so funny because you can always tell who's really excited about the stuff. Like I listen to different podcasts and everyone's just talking about customized Jaguars and GPUs and all this stuff, and it's all just tech speak, and I'm like, does the tech speak excite you? Is that why you're excited for Scorpio?
For a lot of people,
I know
for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you see about the tech specs is that, in my opinion, it translates to what you can do with the games and what you can do with the technology. And
look, so, I want to back. So there's as much as Juan knows I give him a hard time sometimes on some things, but I have to back him up on something. This is something that it's very difficult to argue against, and it's something that makes it makes being on social media and being on forums and things like that. It's kind of the reason that I've pulled away from those and sort of concentrated on our Discord room and get people to just come back to talking about games and talking about the good things. Juan makes a point that is absolutely true. In 2013, Microsoft had a kick-ass lineup to launch with, in my opinion. It's one of the reasons that I enjoyed that holiday season. Sony went two holiday seasons with nothing, and they almost went 2 years with 3 games. And even they themselves, I mean, this is not just an opinion. This is even, I mean, there were articles where Sony themselves said, we know we've got a sparse is the word they used, sparse first party lineup, and we're relying on our third party partners to carry us until our first party games are in line.
And they did get in line.
And they did. And this year has been unbelievable. I mean, I've spent almost all of my time on my PS4 this year. It's just the nature of the beast. The games are so good. That's where I'm going. But the same,
it was supposed to push back, right?
But in 2013, it really was about how much better the PS4 could run third-party games and could run, that looked better, and because it's not the only reason, and the Xbox One was $100 more for a perceived less powerful console. That was their bigger mistake, I think, than anything. And their inability to define themselves at E3 before, which is crazy because they went on first, they allowed Sony to define the Xbox One before Don Matrick could figure out how to define the Xbox One. And those things in tandem were what sunk them for that long, and it's why they had to redesign everything. It's why they had to drop the price so fast. It's why they lost a lot of money on that console, I am sure, until the S came out. and so you had all of these things into a perfect storm of bad for Microsoft, but you could not say that their games were not there, because they put out a lot of good games for that system at launch and throughout the next holiday season. Where people get where I could understand where Juan takes issue is, all of a sudden now you've got the console with the specs, and the argument has now shifted to, well, the specs don't, and you said this in your rant, which was totally correct. We had two, what I consider not great journalists. I'll just keep that lightly.
They're journalists now?
Who said, actually three of them, who said, well, the specs don't mean anything without the games. And those we didn't hear about that in 2013, 2014.
Yeah,
and,
you
and,
never
and,
heard
that,
anything
and
about
that's it's just simply a fair point.
And I agree with those tweets, because I'm of the opinion that, specs don't matter unless
They
you
don't.
have the games.
They
I
don't.
just thought the timing of them were just extremely suspicious. It's
That's the problem.
Here's an event where it's literally just specs of Scorpio and nothing else. And as soon as, Digital Foundry comes out with their stuff, and by the way, IGN, Kotaku, they can say all they want. They were jealous, so jealous.
Of course they were.
Go read his timeline, Jason. He is insane. I know for a fact these guys are jealous, right? Because you ran a website, so you know what it's like. Websites are based on traffic. Traffic that visits a site, you serve ads to them. That's basically how they exist. Am I wrong? Right?
No, you were ad revenue is what
Digital
got
Foundry,
us to 83.
They nailed this huge exclusive, and they were going to get hundreds of thousands of hits to their website, which would help create revenue and create long-form content for the YouTube channel that they're making money for. Any one of those websites, Kotaku, IGN, would kill for that sort of exclusive. They would absolutely kill for it. So nobody was promoting it until it happened, and then it happened, and the takeaway wasn't that, oh, well, the specs of Scorpio are pretty cool. It's nice to see Microsoft back in the game, maybe forcing Sony to make a better PS5, or, how the competition works between the companies, because I think they do a good job of that. But it's become, well, Microsoft doesn't have any games. It's like, but you weren't saying that, in 2013 or 2014.
Right.
Where were those tweets?
Right. I'm sorry, it is a valid point, and it's a valid thing that I think a lot of people get twisted over. Now, that said, Microsoft they have to see the amount of people that are, the amount of their community that are going out and buying PS4s and spending their time on it, because those games right now aren't there. They launched Halo Wars 2 this year, and
it's a fantastic game, by the way. Completely underrated.
I think also the release schedule is the way it is, because I think you had two games that were canceled that were scheduled.
Yep.
I honestly think Scalebound and Fable Legends were probably earmarked for this time period. Mm-hmm. So you basically take both those games out, and now you have this large gaping hole. Not saying it would compete with Nier or Neo or Horizon Zero Dawn or any of the other games that Sony has right now, but at least you could be like, no, I got Scalebound and I got Fable Legends and I got Halo Wars and all this other stuff. You could make, but it's literally Halo Wars 2, which, as Juan said, and I agree, it's a good game. However, it is extremely, extremely niche RTS. Yep. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people just don't look at that and be like, it's an RTS. What do I don't care. That doesn't exist. It's just Microsoft's they're in such a tough position, but I like the way they're coming out about it. I like this reveal, because you get the specs out now, and everybody can do the whole gaga over the specs and all that stuff, and reading about how it took them 2 days to port Forza 6 to Scorpio with no optimizations, and you read all this cool stuff, but all everybody wants is games. So I think it was cool they got it out now, because now the conversation is going to shift to games. So Microsoft at E3 can literally just come on stage, show off the box, which they will have, because I know another publication has the rights to show off the box. So the box will be shown off beforehand. But show off the box, show off the price, and basically spend the next hour and a half talking about the games you can play on the system, instead of spending the conference talking about the specs of the system,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be a great E3 for Xbox fans. I think they're gonna surprise some people. I think they've been sitting on some stuff, and I think that the look of the console is gonna blow people away too. If it's true that it's actually smaller than the S.
That's like a technological feat if they can get that thing, which is way more powerful than the S, to be smaller than the S.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge thing.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
To be honest, all the specs to me, it really meant nothing. Like you say, without seeing the games in action and stuff like that. What I liked about the picture was the cooling system. How it covered even like the RAM and stuff like that. It was quite neat.
Well, but that's just it. Don't discount the specs. The reason I say that is because that without that, I mean, and so here's where I've got a couple of trains of thought as far as the specs and the games go. So I've been thinking about this even since Thursday when I was on BRAP, and since I was looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, if they're showing it this early, the specs and we get to see, what this thing's going to do, they can't be so oblivious as to go on to E3 stage and not have. They can't. First off, they don't have enough marketing deals with games to show things off. Unfortunately, that's another area where right now they're still lacking, and some of that is their choice. I understand that, but one of their issues that they're going to have running into this holiday season is, Red Dead Redemption, Battlefront, Call of Duty. There's your big three for the holiday season. All three of them are Sony marketed, so Microsoft's got to fight that. Right now, Microsoft's end, they've got Shadow of War, which in and of itself could very much be a significant game. Very much. But you would have to think that they're not going into E3 with games we already know. They can't. They can't just go into E3 and say, all right, so Scorpio's going to have Crackdown, and we're going to redesign, here's Forza 7, and here's, maybe Sea of Thieves is going to make an appearance, and here's Shadow of War. They've got to have some stuff coming out of their internal development studios that's going to show this thing off. And I'm wondering if Juan is correct, if maybe what you're seeing is they don't want another fiasco of what happened last year where their show was basically leaked the night before, and there's enough of a lockdown that what we're not seeing is the individual studios, the internal studios, are cooking up games to show. So they come out with some big showing for E3 as to what the Scorpio is going to do for people. Because I don't think they're going to be able to sell it on the back of, hey, your back catalog is going to look better. I don't think that's not a winning strategy. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think that it may be something that is a little down the road. It may not be something coming this year, but I just cannot believe that silence. And that's what we've gotten. We haven't gotten news on games, and that's why everyone's freaking out. Oh my God, there's no games. No, I don't believe that there are no games. I don't believe that they don't have a plan. I don't believe there's not action. How would that be possible for them to have no action? It's just been that there's nothing we don't know about. I don't buy it.
Well, I mean, Mike's right in the sense that they're going to have an uphill battle marketing because Sony has 4 of the biggest games locked down: Destiny, Red Dead Redemption 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and what was the other one?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, right? So that's hard. And basically, and it's not because Microsoft isn't trying to get those games. It's because those companies don't want to advertise with Microsoft. I mean, think about it. Sony's market leader by a fair amount. Rockstar is going to and any of those companies are basically only going to want to market themselves with the market leader. So I think a lot of it's not because I see this all the time. Like Microsoft needs to try. It's like they try. The problem is it's a two-way street. Microsoft may be like, hey, we would love Destiny 2 to market with us, and then Activision's like, yeah, but they have twice as many people, and they're going to offer us the same amount of money. We're going to advertise with them, right? So Microsoft is basically left with Sony's sloppy seconds, for lack of a better term. Any game that Sony doesn't want. So you're ended up with, Shadow of War, which is probably going to be a good game. However, that doesn't really help sell Scorpio because Shadow of War is coming out in August. Scorpio's not coming out until end of October, right? So then you're like, well, Assassin's Creed, the new Assassin's Creed could be very well marketed with Microsoft. Splinter Cell, the new Splinter Cell could very well be marketed with Microsoft.
Could also,
I'm struggling to even.
Splinter Cell is typically Xbox.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I know for 100% fact that game is real. I'm not going to say how I know, but I know it's 100%.
Rand Al Insider.
It's 100% real. I don't know if it's coming out this year. I'm assuming so because it's been worked on for a while. I would think it would come out and be Microsoft branded, but so the thing is though, what Juan was talking about of we don't know what the games are coming or there's silence. It's like the problem is, and I've had lengthy conversations with people about this, is we know exactly what all of Microsoft's first party studios are doing, right?
Yeah,
we know that Turn 10's on Forza 7.
Yep.
We know that 343's on Halo 6. We know that Coalition's on Gears 5. You know that Undead Labs is on State of Decay 2. You can literally point to and say all those studios have a game they're working on. So if it's a secret game, like some people speculate that Fable 4 might be done by Rare. And
right.
it very well be Rare's next game after Sea of Thieves. The problem is, from what I was told, the entire studio at Rare is working on Sea of Thieves. So if they do have some kind of concept tech demo, there's not many people working on it. So which leaves, if you know what all the first party studios are doing, then you got to look out. It's like, is Phil going to buy an exclusive, which he recently came out and said he doesn't like doing,
right?
Or that doesn't drive the industry forward? Or are we going to have more second party kind of games like how they did with Armature and Recore? Are they going to start kind of going after smaller devs and having them build out the games for them? So that's why I'm kind of cautious about DC3. Like, I'm excited for Scorpio. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to the system. I just don't know, looking at everything we've seen with all their first-party studios, what exactly Microsoft could bring to the table that would surprise anybody. Because I will be the first one to say, if Microsoft shows up and shows a trailer for Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2 and Crackdown 3, and the only literal new thing we get is Halo 6, I'm going to say, you blew it, and then it's a terrible E3.
Well, indeed. They've got to know that, though.
I know but here's the thing. Like I'm saying, I don't see where all the games are going to come from. They don't have as many studios as Sony. They don't have as many studios as Nintendo. We know what they're all working on. So it's like, where are these games going to come from? I honestly think, at least for this year, that we're not going to get any surprises. You might get maybe a small new IP or something like that. But I'm keeping my expectations extremely low on the game side because
it's probably the smart way to go. But I just have doubt.
The only reason I would agree with Juan is that they're launching a giant console, and granted, I understand that the Scorpio is it's an Xbox family console. We're not in a new generation. We're a mid-gen refresh. I hear you guys in the chat room. I really do. If you've heard me over the last 2 months, I have echoed this a lot. I have been concerned. I'm just wondering, and I'm not saying I'm all of a sudden not concerned anymore. To Juan's point, I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around the fact that they're going to have this killer, unbelievable, most powerful console ever built. That's their marketing line on this, and all they're going to show is the stuff we already know is coming, up-res to 4K. Rand, I agree with you. That would be. I'm not sure what.
Right. That's why my expectations are extremely low, because I honestly can't for the life of me think of anything else any of their first party studios are doing, which means it has to be an exclusive Phil bought, but he doesn't like doing that. So is it really realistic, or secret second party deals that they do? I don't know. I would love to say, yeah, guys, it's coming, but
What if is something that we have seen before, like something, with Remedy, or with Armature again, or with Insomniac, or
yeah. Well, okay, that's where part of like this whole thing. It'd be great, like if Microsoft came out, right, here's Rise 2, here's Sunset Overdrive 2, here's Quantum Break 2, and I think a lot of Microsoft's failures of this gen are partially in part because they couldn't get any sales traction on any of their new IPs. They were all one and done, right? So if they weren't, then yeah, you could be like, well, we got Rise, we got Sunset. From what I understand, that Quantum Break game was an utter disaster for Microsoft. They lost so much money on that game.
Well, I can't imagine it was a cheap one to make.
Sunset Overdrive didn't sell very well. I think there's trepidation on both sides about making a new one. And now with Insomniac back making Spider-Man from Sony, if Spider-Man's a huge hit, they'll just make Spider-Man 2 for Sony again. Why bother going back to Sunset? It's tough. I don't want to sound like a downer. I'm just trying to be realistic here. I look at the studios and I'm just like, what are you making? With Sony, like, you have Naughty Dog and what they're doing, and you have Kojima's game, and you have all the other studios, but then there's like Sucker Punch.
Right, which you haven't heard anything from yet.
Yeah, and they already announced they're doing a new IP, right? So it's like, that's something to look forward to. And that's part of the problem, is because Microsoft and Sony have taken this opposite approach to how they're basically moving forward. Sony's going to show you everything they have, right? And it satisfies their entire user base. People are like, okay, no matter if X, Y, and Z game doesn't do as well, I still have Last of Us 2 to look forward to. I still have Death Stranding to look forward to. Whereas Microsoft side, you don't have anything to look forward to. You have the 3 games coming out the rest of the year, but there's not a game you can point to in the future and be like, no matter what, this game in 2019 is going to be the game. We don't have that on Xbox side. So a lot of people get antsy and they kind of like start looking around and being like, what is Microsoft doing? Are they doing the right thing? Because Phil doesn't like showing games too early because they've gotten burned. They gotten burned by Scalebound. Mm-hmm. They gotten burned by Fable Legends. They gotten burned by Phantom Dust. So they're getting to the point where Legends. Well,
yeah, Juan and I have very strong opinions about Fable Legends.
Right, but you get my point. They've had to cancel a lot of games, and I understand the trepidation at Redmond of not wanting to announce games way into the future because they have a reputation of canceling them now.
So Willis, I just want to address something from Willis real quick. No, we don't want Ruffian making games for the Xbox anymore. Sorry, Crackdown 2 was enough for me.
And they know Crackdown 2 was a bad game too. So
I only played one.
That's why I'm glad that. David Jones is back with doing Crackdown 3. That's the original man behind the first.
But my friends are like Juan. They're like, how can Microsoft announce Scorpio and put it out and then have nothing to go along with it? There has to be something.
But we've got
behind
hints
the curtain.
Too. We've got hints too. Phil has talked about 2 new IPs. Phil has talked about coming back from Japan with good news.
Yeah. The more Japanese games will hit the Xbox.
Yeah, I think
I'm confident in that. Which ones, I don't know.
And how long it'll take, we don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Phil brings back some OG Xbox games like Mech Warrior or something along that line.
Oh God, see that would be a kid. That might be what pushes me over the fence. That's the other point I'm going to make in a little bit. But that may be you show me Mech Warrior, you show me Jade Empire. Well, that's BioWare. You're not getting that. But show me something that you can bring back.
But the problem, Mike, is that as much as you want MechWarrior to come back, it's going to come back in a way that you're going to despise if it does come back.
Well, because who's going to make it? Foster Studios.
Well, not only that, it's because it's going to be lotto box to hell. It's going to be multiplayer where you can buy boxes full of mech parts you can put on your thing or spend. I'm telling you, like, be careful what you wish for. You want MechWarrior to come back, but it's going to have the trappings of all their multiplayer games, which is that gambling box. I don't want to swear, but you know what I mean.
It's going to come back as Ghost Recon.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back MechWarrior. I honestly I want to be on like more on Juan's side about like there has to be something behind this curtain. I just
clinging to hope.
I just don't know. And you know what? If there's not, man, that's going to be really.
I'll deal with that if it happens.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll give them to E3. They need to wow me. I am going to get Scorpio because it's going to do a lot for my present gaming and my backlog and things like that. I am an Xbox gamer at heart, always will be, as long as Halo's there, and Halo will always probably be there. But yeah, it's like Maka said on TXR on Monday. It's a tough time to be an Xbox gamer. It's honestly a tough time because, you know, you look at Sony, they got exclusives coming out the wazoo, and they're all 85 over on Metacritic. You look at Nintendo, and while they may not have a lot of games,
everybody's playing Zelda.
Apparently, yeah. Like, and we're over here with Halo Wars 2, a good game, but a game nobody really wants to talk about because it's an RTS. You know, so it's a tough time. You know, when's Cuphead coming out? When's Below coming out? You know,
Cuphead's this year. Studio M8 HR was on that today with Twitter. They were talking about.
Well, I mean, I know it's coming out this year, but it's like it's another game. When they show that game off, 2014, 2015.
Right, which is why they've gone to kind of playing it close to the vest.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be interesting E3 because honestly, does Sony even need to do anything to win? Because the gaming media is going to eat it all up, no matter what they do. Whereas like if Microsoft kind of comes in at low expectations, they're going to get killed because the article that Ben Kuchera wrote for Polygon and the tweet that Jason Schreier put out is basically going to be what they're going to write about at E3. Hey, Scorpio's great and all, but you got nothing to play on it, even though PlayStation and Xbox share 95% of the same library and the same games. You know?
Yeah, it's going back to the reveal of the specs and the aftermath in the media. We had Mr. It's a Beast Phil, that PS4 is a beast, talking about games, and it's like my first thought was, if it was a forum, if this was an internet discussion other than him just tweeting out, if this was a forum and he wandered into the tech thread and was starting to talk about exclusive games, they'd boo him out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that is something that didn't happen here because obviously it's not a forum, but it's it's the narrative. It's what the meta is right now because it's changed for everybody. I mean, I've never been one to say power is everything. I've never been one to say it's nothing either. You know, when those last 3 years with the Xbox, I don't know how many times on Twitter I've, been accosted or yelled at, or you're stupid, underpowered Xbox, this, that. The idea that power, wasn't anything I reject. The idea that power is nothing, like, it doesn't matter if you don't have it, I reject that too. It's like Phyllis said, balance is the thing. But it's like you said on your video, Rand, the flop has definitely happened. It's definitely totally 180 on both sides.
Yeah, it sure has.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I guess it's possible 343 could be making 2 games, and some of these studios could be making 2. But going off of like history, I don't think any of them have. Because I've seen that argument brought up, like, well, you don't know 343 is only doing Halo 6.
It's a big studio.
And it is a big studio, and I've heard that at one point they were working on like a spin-off lock game. Who knows if that's still in production?
They should do a spin-off butt game.
Right, so it's like, yeah, I understand the studio's big and they could be making on 2 games, but if you go off history of the studios, they only ever really make 1. And Halo 6 is it because Microsoft won't let 343 not make Halo because that is their bread and butter, which Microsoft should just go up to Coalition and just be like, you know what, shelve Gears, make something new.
Go make the game. Go make that game you wanted to make.
Yeah, go make that game you wanted to make because you want to know Gears 4, disaster for Microsoft.
Really?
Oh yeah. Well, maybe not a disaster,
I was
but
going to say, it charted when it first released.
I'm not going to say it's a disaster, but it lost them a ton of money. It
Really?
did not do well. Forza, they basically had to prop Gears up every way they knew how, and Forza Horizon 3 just ran circles around Gears with no help at all.
Two different games.
I know, but what I'm saying to you is they didn't help out Forza Horizon 3. They put all their marketing muscle behind Gears, and Forza Horizon 3 outsold Gears so badly with no help, and it surprised Microsoft by how well it did. Gears 4 didn't do honestly. I'm not sure if Gears has a future. That's how bad Gears 4 did.
Wow.
I enjoyed the campaign in Gears 4. Of course, I had to do that on like the hardest mode, whatever it was called. But I enjoyed it. But I don't think I've been back to it since, though. I'm not too much in the horde mode or the multiplayer.
I haven't been back to it, I guess, And here, this is something that Microsoft needs to take note of. I keep going back to Horizon Zero Dawn. Like thankfully Peter was on the PS4 2 nights ago, so we could talk. Because otherwise, I haven't been on my Xbox, and I was on yesterday, so I could play Mantis Burn Racing. Because that had DLC that came out. But I mean, this is something that they need to understand, is that they have to, the one thing that Microsoft's guys do well, and I, for better or for worse, is they are in touch with their community. They are out there on social media. Albert Pinello gets out there on NeoGAF. These guys get out there and they talk to people, and they tweet back and forth with their fans, and but in that, they have to see the landscape. I know a lot of people on my timeline who I knew as major Xbox fans that have bought PS4s, and they're all playing the same game right now. They're all playing Horizon.
But was it supposed to come out this year?
It was supposed to come out fall. It was a fall.
Yeah.
It was a fall.
So they got
2019
lucky,
game.
really, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
Well, sometimes you need to be lucky.
And sometimes you look at the landscape and you say, well, why don't we just tweak the game a little, and we'll just get it out there.
They actually thought about delaying it out of its release date in March or February.
Really?
I remember being told that they had discussions because it was launching the week of the Switch. And Sony didn't know when Switch was launching, so when they found out Switch was launching, they thought about delaying Horizon until April. But obviously they didn't.
Yeah, I think.
But you bring up an interesting point, though, about being lucky or the release dates, because I'm of the opinion that a release timing is everything, and Microsoft tends to not give its games good release windows. Case in point, like Sunset Overdrive. And I think what they're going to do with Scorpio is they're going to launch all these games with the system at the end of October or November, whenever it comes out, and those games aren't going to do as well as they should. Like Sea of Thieves is a game that needs a window where it's the only thing available. Whether that's early August or late July or extremely early September, you need to slot that game in then. Because if you're going to launch Sea of Thieves dead smack at the end of October or in the middle of November, that game is going to
fail,
do extremely bad. Because just all you need to do is just look at last year. Titanfall 2, decimated by Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty.
And it's a great game.
Yeah.
It's a great game. Watch Dogs 2, Dishonored 2. So many good games. So many great games were just destroyed because they launched so many games in a short window. And if Microsoft's doing what I think they're doing and launching Forza 7, Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, although I think State of Decay is coming up earlier, but just for the sake of the argument, all 4 of their games as actual launch games from Scorpio, those games are going to underperform significantly, because then you're also competing with every game that comes out in November that are way bigger, and all the games that come in October.
Right.
Question. Wouldn't assuming that that's going to happen also be assuming that they haven't learned any lessons?
Well, as I've always been told, game development is a tricky thing, and sometimes a game's ready when it's ready.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
One of the very first times I got to talk to Phil in a party, I asked him, I was like, Phil, can you please explain something to me? And he's like, what? I'm like, why did you guys launch Rise of the Tomb Raider the same day as Fallout 4? I'm like, Rise of the Tomb Raider is great, but Fallout 4 is an immensely bigger game. Why not just hold on to that game and launch it in December or launch it in January? And then he didn't give me an answer, but he was like, yeah, you know, you learn things with these deals, and we weren't exactly in 100% control of the release date and things like that. So
yeah, there were a few things they weren't in control of with that game.
So it's like release dates are interesting, and I want all of Microsoft's games to succeed, because it's become a joke how basically all their new games come out and they don't sell well enough to get a sequel, and it's kind of embarrassing that Knack 2 exists and Sunset Overdrive 2 doesn't.
Yeah.
But
that's see that's on the community.
No, you're right.
That's on Xbox gamers, because
but it's also
can't
on
blame
Microsoft
me.
for not promoting, or I guess even making the games people want, right? I mean, sometimes you got to listen to your audience, and if you're making games but your audience doesn't want them, maybe you're not listening to what your audience wants.
True. But Sunset Overdrive, that was criminal how that underperformed, and they didn't. That was a pillar game for them marketing wise during that time, because I remember seeing ads all over the place for it on TV. I mean, that was one of their big games.
I got it day one digital, and I was telling everybody, you need to get this game. It is great, and nobody really picked it up, and it's a shame.
And I'm not saying
they had that huge launch party, you know. Yeah. That was pretty cool stuff.
So, you know, I'm not saying that you have to buy every single solitary exclusive game for your system. That's unrealistic. You're not going to like everything that they make. I did not get Halo Wars 2, although thank you, Nathan. I do have it now, thanks to you, and I will play it at some point.
I convinced them to send you the code instead, because if not, it cost me a little bit of money to ship this to you.
Yeah, I've shipped things to Canada before. It's not cheap, so I appreciate that, Nathan.
Yep.
You know, I didn't buy Scream Ride, not because I didn't want it, because there were other things to buy. But there are mainline games. You know, Halo 5, probably for me, I've played every Halo, probably some of the best multiplayer in the Halo series next to 2, in my opinion. Extremely great multiplayer. It sold fine, but not like a mainline Halo should have sold. Gears, if you're right, Rand, then you know you're talking about one of their pillars. They paid lots of money for that IP. Lots of money for that IP. Forza should be doing fine, and I guess it is. And Forza Horizon 3 is just a special game. I mean, there's just, you know,
we've had a lot of fun with that game. All of us, you know.
Playground. I can't wait to see what Playground's next game actually is going to be, because they're just special. You know, there are games that criminally undersold and shouldn't have. And I don't know what in the world the community's doing with some of these games. But, you know, and so Reprobate says the campaign killed him. It made him angry. The campaign, though, is sort of like... I feel like the campaign's been secondary to Halo for a while, and I'm hoping that 6 will change that. And by the way, you guys are getting your split screen co-op back. You're welcome, I guess. Whatever that's for. But you know, don't. I don't want to hear anybody complain when the split screen's 30 frames per second. I just don't want to hear it.
I'm out of here.
So. It'll be 60 on Scorpio. So.
So Peter, Jason, Nathan, we want to get you in on here. You guys have kind of hung back and just listened to the three of us go on. You know, give some general thoughts as to where you guys are with this.
I mean, just, well, you know, what we've heard about, like that your back catalog is going to run better and faster, and you know, I'm a specs guy. I like to look at it, and the numbers are higher than anything out there, so that's good. That can help in the games, and I'm curious what new games they will show at E3, and I guess we just wait till that moment and then go from there.
Yeah, you've been telling
But
me
so
that.
far, I'm like, it's day one purchase. So
even not knowing what the first party output's going to be.
yes,
All right.
I mean, if it's gonna run third party, better or on par than a competition. So.
All right.
For me, I don't know if I ever told you guys, I used to build PCs myself. The specs, I don't know. I've never been, the go-to thing. Like, it's optimization is a big key. If my PC is better than my Xbox, like spec-wise, but games run 1,000 times better on my Xbox. So that's why I choose to play games on consoles. Optimization is a huge deal to me. So if this Scorpio, if games are like optimized for it and just blow, let's say anything I've played in the longest time out of the water, definitely be a day one purchase for me. Like I said, it's got to be, the software has to talk on it. Whoa.
Oh, we lost Nathan for a second.
Oh, okay. It's like, better not be bait.
Better not be Juan. It's usually Juan.
Not tonight.
Yeah. But like I said, the software it's gonna do the talking for me. But it's knowing me, I'm gonna try to get it day one because I like new hardware.
I'm gonna try to get him back while we're talking. So
hey, look,
Mike,
Rand is in Nate's spot.
I was thinking, like, what if, because I mentioned like Microsoft has to give fans what they want, and what if Xbox fans don't want exclusives or don't care for exclusives? What if all they want is just the multi-platform games? Because the sales will kind of back that up. None of their exclusives have sold well, period. And if all the data shows is here's all these exclusive games and yet nobody's buying them, the data shows that would tell Microsoft that our consumer base doesn't care for exclusive games. Am I kind of off track on that? Or?
Well, here's the thing. I've done a lot of thought about exclusivity in the past few months or year, whatever. I don't care about exclusivity. I don't care. I get basically nothing out of the exclusivity of a game. It doesn't benefit me to a measurable degree in my estimation, and I lose nothing if that game is also available on PC and thus can maybe sell a little better, get a sequel. That may be something I gain by it not being exclusive. And I really think that particularly after the announcement of Scorpio and the revelation that mostly, and maybe even more so after the reveal of the Pro and the revelation that there was going to come a time when Sony wasn't going to have the dominant power platform, that it all became exclusive. Exclusive became a talisman for people. And you'd say, you got no games. I'm like, I don't know. I just got done playing all these games, like For Honor. I put a ton of hours into For Honor. I'm really enjoying that. But that's not exclusive. So, I mean, like, how does that, and I'd ask them, I'd say, what about it not being exclusive? Like, what do you personally gain from any game being exclusive? And to a man, they all say, well, it gives me a reason to buy the console.
I mean, that's true.
It blows my mind because that's not a benefit to them.
No, it's not.
Having a reason to spend money on a particular piece of plastic does not, in my mind, constitute a benefit.
But to your point earlier about how you said that Microsoft has to have something waiting in the wings to show off exclusive-wise, but if their data shows that exclusives don't matter because nobody buys them on Xbox, and if they come out at E3 with exactly what we expect, is that a bad thing in your opinion then?
It depends on where they want to be. It depends on what so this comes down to where they feel they are most comfortable in the market. If they, like it or not, Horizon Zero Dawn sold a lot of consoles. I mean, games like that are going to sell. This is what's going to be really odd for me. When Gran Turismo comes out, it's going to sell a lot of PS4s because that's a staple franchise for them. Forza should be selling a lot of Xboxes. I think it sells a lot to the base, but I don't see it moving the needle on. And they even had a really neat custom console and everything, and it doesn't move the needle. So to me, it's gonna right now. It depends on where Microsoft wants to be in this. Do they want to quote end quote win the war at this point, or do they just want to make money? Do they just want to sell their services? Do they just want to be just do they want to stay in their lane and not worry about what's going on with the other two console manufacturers?
I think they just want to stay in their lane. I think they're focused on profitability above all. I think they're completely risk adverse now. But to your point about Forza, I think Horizon. Horizon's the first in its kind on PlayStation, so it's going to sell systems. There's been 4 Forza games on Xbox One. I think the days of Forza selling systems is long past.
3 should have.
I mean, three sold incredibly well, and maybe it did sell, but I mean, Forza's a known quantity. That's why people, when they get on Twitter and they talk about how Xbox doesn't have any games, it's just Halo, Forza Gears, Halo, Forza Gears, Halo, Forza Gears.
Right, but Uncharted 4 also sold a lot of systems. And that's a known quantity.
Yeah, no, I mean, Uncharted as a franchise sold a lot of systems. I mean, okay, so Forza, I mean, if you want to break down the numbers, Uncharted did, 2.7 first week, and then they announced at the holidays it shifted almost 9, but it was packed in on every PS4, and they had sold 7 million PS4s that holiday. So how many of that 9 million were pack-ins, and how many did they actually sell to consumers?
But I guess my point is how many people walked in and picked up a PS4 because it had.
No, I'm sure a lot of people bought PS4s on the basis of Uncharted 4 being on the system at some point. I mean, clearly it happens with Halo. I mean, it happened with Halo 3. It happened with Gears, but probably to a lesser degree. So no, you're right. Uncharted does sell systems because it was always you're Uncharted, you're going to get it. I'm just the way the Xbox is now, and the way you look at it is like none of their exclusives outside of Halo and Forza or Horizon seem to push any numbers. And I'm wondering if it's because the people who bought games from last gen when 360 was king and murdering everybody in sales, I'm wondering if those people made the shift to PlayStation right away in the beginning and never came back. Because now you have this thing where multiplats sell extremely well on Xbox. I mean, just last month, For Honor sold more on Xbox than it did on PlayStation. Right?
It's a good game, actually.
It's a really good game, but it sold more on Xbox and PlayStation. Multiplats still sell extremely well on Xbox. The things that don't sell well, for whatever reason, are the exclusives. And I always try to sit there and figure out, and my friends have conversations, why is that? Why did Sunset Overdrive not sell as well as it should have? Why did ReCore not sell as well as it should have? Why did Gears 4, from all apparent things that I've heard, bomb, basically? Like, how is that possible? And I don't have an answer for that other than that maybe people just don't want exclusive games on Xbox. Maybe all they want is COD and all the big multi-platforms.
Possibility.
Maybe.
And
The
that's
COD and the man. Or the FIFA.
And
I don't know.
That's how I know I'm getting too old. I mean, I'm not saying that joke. I mean,
I
I actually feel
Stinger's old.
I actually feel like no. I mean, this kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I thoroughly enjoy like the co-op stuff that we have been playing. When I can get on Ghost Recon and stuff like that, I enjoy it. But those. Maybe the advent of esports and the advent of all this other stuff that's this evolution into it's got to be multiplayer, it's got to be multiplayer, it's got to be multiplayer. It has begun to make me realize that I'm aging. I'm really starting to age out of this.
You and me both. But I mean, look at Microsoft, because Microsoft's looking at all the numbers. Look what games dominate right now: Grand Theft Auto 5. Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, For Honor, they're all games with huge multiplayer components to it. Yeah, I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn will sell well month 1, but its legs are terminally going to be short because it has no replay value after that. Look at Rainbow Six Siege, launched in December of 2015, and last month was the 5th best on MPD.
Yeah.
That game has seen a resurgence and a comeback like no other game before it. Look at Overwatch. It's dominating everything, and it won Game of the Year last year, for Christ's sake, and it's a multiplayer-only game.
Yeah, has no campaign whatsoever.
Maybe that's what gaming is now. Maybe gaming is a lot of people, the young kids grew up from the Wii generation, and I don't know how to explain it, but maybe the single-player campaigns that we expect and we like, that's not what people want anymore. I don't know.
Well, I think where you can go with that, I think that that type of game may transition to shorter experiences. As the target audience for them, like us, as we age, we don't have 100 hours to put into every game that we own. So I'm appreciative of a game that's a nice 10, 15 hours, tells me a tight narrative, doesn't run me around doing fetch quests all day. And maybe that's where that kind of needs to go.
Well, and the exceptions to the rules seem to be games like Witcher 3, Horizon,
Elder Scrolls, Fallout.
Elder Scrolls. Look, Nier Automata and Neo have done pretty well. So I think there's a place for it. I just wonder, but let's call it as it is. Those are PlayStation games right now, and they're doing really well on that platform. And I don't know. It's almost. It really. It's sad because what's the stigma that Microsoft's always gotten with the Xbox? That it's the
shooter box.
The shooter box. It's the dude bro box. But unfortunately, the empirical evidence is kind of there, and it rattles off to say exactly the list of games you just rattled off, Rand, that are the ones that do well on that system, and yet, okay, yes, Quantum Break was flawed, fine if you want it, but except for the fact that my save game destroyed on me and it broke my spirit, I was so into that game. I was so into that game while I was playing it.
I played through it twice.
Sunset Overdrive, the amount of hours I put into Sunset Overdrive was like I emotionally felt bad when I saw the very last Sunset video that what's his name was making.
When they're doing Sunset TV.
Yeah, Sunset TV. Like
cool.
It was, and I was like, I can't believe that they're giving up on this. I don't know. I don't know what the community. I don't know what the Xbox gamer wants. I mean, you're right. Maybe this is what they want. Maybe they want dude bro, and they're fine with that stigma. The problem is that then you get a game. So then explain to me Gears 4, because Gears 4 is about as dude bro shooter as you could possibly get. It had, maybe I'm just skewed. To me it had a kick-ass campaign. I enjoyed it, and I know Jason and I ran through some of it. Peter and I ran through some of it, and I had a grand old time.
No, it's a good game, but my take on Gears is it's a relic from last gen. It was a game that was wrapped up, but hold on, let me finish. It was a game that was wrapped up story-wise completely with a bow on it. Right. No reason to continue the series. And they had to come up with the good, when it's set 25 years. A lot of people just be like, Gears is done and over with. I think Gears 4 would have done a lot better if they literally continued right from where Gears 3 left off.
Maybe.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Right. Because you're right. How did Gears go from being way bigger than Uncharted, way bigger than most any other exclusives out there besides maybe Halo and a couple others, to being way below Uncharted and Horizon, a new IP? Like, how did that happen? Were people that put off by Gears Judgment? Right? I mean, I don't know. We're probably wondering the same questions up at Redmond and Coalition, how that all kind of turned out.
I do think Repro in the chat had a point too, because people get the smallest whiff of microtransactions and things, like your rec packs and that didn't hurt Halo too much, but whatever they're called in gear, these
I think they're called gear packs.
Gear packs, yeah.
And it turns people off.
Yeah, but it doesn't turn people off in Overwatch, though.
Right.
I don't know.
Didn't they give, and it wasn't it where if you bought, I think Western Drake told us this once, if somebody bought the DLC maps for Gears and you got into a multiplayer, everybody could play that map without having to buy the DLC. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's good stuff.
No, I'm not saying they were poorly implemented. I'm just saying that a lot of times when people see that, a lot of them turn it off. Now, I think Overwatch, because who is that? That's
Blizzard.
What and Blizzard? I mean, can they do wrong in people's eyes? I mean,
Nope.
a lot of how much
Nope.
of this stuff is just perception anyway.
Well,
A lot of it.
yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
Well,
when you look at
like you're right. If the situation was flipped and Microsoft had 60 million and Sony had 30 million, yeah, Gears probably sells millions of copies and is a huge success.
but,
right.
but
You know,
we're
we're-
sitting. But see, I don't buy that because we're still sitting at 30 million. Even we're sitting at 30 million Xbox Ones. You can't tell me that. I mean, what percentage of the Xbox base? What are they buying? I mean, if
Well,
they're,
they're buying Rainbow Six Siege. They're buying Grand Theft Auto 5. They're buying Overwatch. You can just look at the list. Look at the most. That's the games they're buying. They're buying Minecraft, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Everybody's buying
but
Minecraft.
it just amazes me that they don't have room for Gears and all that.
They're playing Roblox. Roblox is one of the most played games on the system.
My kids love that game.
Well, that's it, right?
I mean, we're in a new age, gentlemen. You know, like, we all come from an age where single player ruled, multiplayer was kind of added, and now multiplayer is king. You know, and now you can see the achievements and see the percentage of people who actually beat the campaigns now.
Yeah.
And so Cliffy B is not so far off where he said, dude, nobody freaking finishes the campaigns, so why are we even making these things?
Well, maybe
Just make the multiplayer.
maybe Peter Moore was right. You know, he said that about Battlefront. He said nobody plays the campaign, so why are we going to do it? And I pushed back then about, you know, on that, but that was also a couple years ago when I thought, you know, these games would come out and people would love them. You know, I still think Quantum Break had a very compelling story. Remedy knows how to tell a story, and you could, you know, I could overlook some of the cover aspect of it because I really enjoyed the story up until the point where
So did I.
You know,
I thought Quantum Break was criminally underrated.
absolutely.
I think it was my
can't agree
fifth
more.
best. I think it was my fifth best, my fifth favorite game from last year. I think the whole 720p thing, I think really got under people's skins. A lot of people played it like a cover shooter when that wasn't exactly the way you were supposed to play it. I mean, I remember Jeff Gertzman from Giant Bomb playing it like it was Gears, and I'm just like, I never took cover a single time in that game.
It was so painful to watch
You
that
got to use
video.
the
It was.
powers in that game, you know? Once you know how to use the powers, the game is
Oh my
awesome.
Got
you
it.
know?
Yeah.
And it's so criminal we didn't get like a DLC or like a horde mode or something where you could just use. And it's like, I watched Jeff play it and I'm like, you're playing this game wrong. And normally I don't say like, you play the game whatever you want, but I'm like, dude, you have the powers there for a reason, bro.
Right.
Like
use them.
you're not supposed to play this like Gears of War. You're supposed to play it like a superhero action game almost.
Like there's a reason. I believe he complained about how come I don't have a pop-up and fire button. There's a reason why.
Right, because you have this great thing where you could freeze the guy in front of you.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
Just a real quick, and we got to get back to the Scorpio talk because we kind of really got off the bend. And I knew this would happen because this is part and parcel with what's going on with Microsoft right now, and it does lend to some of my concerns that I've had, and Peter's had to keep talking me off the ledge and going wait till E3 and but
Wait till E3.
no, but he has. He's been my balance board.
But what happens, Mike, if E3 doesn't deliver for you? What happens? What then? Is Peter going to be like, wait till next year's E3?
Yeah.
No.
Well, Juan will be.
And Mike will
Juan will
stop playing games.
Well, that's
We'll
just
have
it. See,
Or you can finally play Doom.
I've got
Finish that up.
be right.
um,
Halo Wars.
real quick, Rain City, who again, he's thank you for checking us out tonight. I'm hoping you're enjoying and welcome. He said Gears was too much of a rehash for him. This is something interesting that I found that lends itself to why those games didn't do as well as they should, and I don't think Halo 5 has done as well as it should. My honest opinion, I think that game should have been. We should still be talking about Halo 5 today. That game should have charted for months upon months. people who play Halo said Halo 5 was too different, and people who play Gears said Gears 4 was too much the same.
Mhm.
It's like I don't.
You can't win either
right.
way.
It's like neither person. It's like when Rod first talked about Gears, he said we wanted to get back to what made Gears great at the beginning, and people were like, "Yeah, we don't want Gears Judgment. We don't want Gears. We want the old Gears." They got the old Gears, and the old Gears wasn't good enough at the time. I mean, it's just just a side note. Halo 5 was the same thing. Halo 4 and 5 actually were the same thing. Halo's all drawn out. Halo's all played out. Well, 343i wanted to try some new things with Halo while still keeping the base Halo gameplay. So they added Clamber and they added Sprint, thank you. And they balanced it out. Like, I think Sprint is greatly balanced by the fact you can't recharge your shield while you're sprinting. So they did these things to try to update the game engine while still keeping the things that made Halo great. The concentration on hip fire over aiming down sights, stuff like that. And people went, "This is too different." But yet the Gears people said it's too much the same. Those are the things that kind of boggle my mind.
At least Halo sold well, and they say it has the best player retention since the second one. People are loving it and playing it all the time. I mean, they went out of their way to do like monthly updates for the longest time to make that game viable, not only on Xbox Live but also in esports and stuff.
I'll always go back. I'll always go back to it.
Yeah, the funny thing is I go back to Halo 5 every now and then. Like, I could get too much food. He'll, ask if anybody wants to play Halo 5, so I'll jump in with him. Or JD from Playing Lists and Podcasts. We play games like that. Every now and then we just kind of look at the catalog of games we got and go, okay, what can we play that we haven't played in a long time, and it will feel fresh again,
But Mike, here's something I wanted to bring up real fast. I know you own all consoles. You're one of those dirty neutrals,
filthy neutral.
The filthy neutral.
They're all back here.
So I know you're playing more time on your PlayStation now because it has a lot of cool games that you can't play anywhere else.
Right.
But there's going to come a time where there's going to be multiplats, and if you do get Scorpio, and you're choosing between PlayStation and Scorpio, this is kind of Microsoft's thinking is you're going to pick up a Scorpio, and then you're going to play those multiplats on Scorpio because that'll be the best place to play those multiplats on.
Okay, so interestingly enough, I gotta say the reason that I started out playing multiplats more on the 360 than the PS3 was because before Sony got their stuff ramped up, that's where all my friends were. So the argument that you go where your friends are is a valid one. So financially, I had to pick between the two consoles in 2013. I chose the Xbox because I am still one of those who believed in that original vision. I was on board with the whole use your disc as a install, and I had no issue with the with the check-in because in my mind, as an IT guy, okay, if my modem goes out, I can just use my cell phone as a hotspot. So in my head, I'm like, these are great things. This is, and so I stuck with that even after they got rid of it. And to be honest with you, if I wasn't on Xbox Live as much as I was until until I got my PS4, I would say probably 4 of you wouldn't be on this podcast right now because I wouldn't have met some of you guys. I game.
Yeah.
I game with Peter and Jason and Nathan and Juan. I've been in parties with you before, Rand. I game with people over there. I don't game like my PS4 right now is my first person, my single player console because really everybody I want to play with is on the Xbox. So there's some truth to that. So let's get back to the Scorpio for a minute because what you're asking me is a question that's got kind of a more complex answer. So I know that Microsoft has gone through a great deal to show you that there are things about the Scorpio that, as a 1080p gamer, you should benefit from. I don't have a 4K TV. I am not likely going to have a 4K TV for the foreseeable future. It's just,
We told you how to do it.
I
Destroy
know.
your TV, set it on fire, just do something.
Father of
Oh,
three.
honey, we got to go to the Best Buy. We got to pick up a new TV.
I got a 12-year-old boy who's about to get bar mitzvahed, and that's expensive. I've got, it's got 3 kids. So disposable income for me, I can't just run out and get a Scorpio just because. I can't go run out and get a 4K TV just because it's the newest thing on the market. I just don't have that ability. So
Do it.
in looking at, I have to look at what this is going to do for me at this point in time. I would imagine, so show of hands, and Rand, your hand I know is already up. Who's getting yours day one? So,
well, to be fair, that largely depends on also price. Because if it's $700, I ain't getting one day one.
well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big
yeah.
thing.
Seems unlikely, though.
Whoever said that's ridiculous. There's no that I saw that Forbes article from David Thier. There is absolutely no possible way any analyst worth their salt is going to call this thing $400 or $750. It's not going to happen. There's no way. This thing's gonna clock in at $499 because they have to. Do I hear any?
Could be.
They
They
almost-
could subsidize it further.
They almost have to come in at 400, in my opinion.
Really?
I'm
So
going to say $4.99, and then if it's cheaper, I have money to buy another game. So I set my expectations. I manage my expectations. If it's cheaper, the better. But
I mean, I'm thinking 500 too, but the reason I say they almost have to is, I guess it goes back to your earlier question about, is Microsoft still competing with Sony, or are they okay with their place in the industry and okay with making profit? If they want to compete, they have to at least have one version of 400.
Yeah.
Because Sony's going to drop Pro to 350 for the holiday, especially with Scorpio coming out. So 400 versus 350, that is a huge win for Microsoft. $50 and you get a better multi-plat machine. But if it's 500, now you're 350 versus 500. You're at $150. That is a lot. And if they run promotions for Black Friday, where you could get the Pro for 300, now you're $200.
right.
That is a huge gap for a lot of people, and that is something where even Scorpio's better, but is it $200 better?
What do you think the S will go for? 200?
Well, I think the S is 300 now. It'll probably be MSRP 250, and then they'll probably have deals for around Black Friday for 200 with a bunch of games or Game Pass or whatever. So I guess the question is Microsoft pushing for volume of Scorpio? And if they're pushing for volume, it'll be at 400. If they're more pushing for profit margins and things like that, and if they don't care about really competing with Sony and only care about their bottom line, they'll probably put it at 500 because they know everybody at 500 who's going to buy it at 500 probably going to buy it at 400, more than likely.
I think more people. I think you'll tack on a bunch of people at 400.
Of course you would. But
I think at 400. So this will be, and I didn't think about this until you just said it. I think at 400, you go after that. That's telling me that they're going after the PlayStation gamer that has not upgraded to a Pro yet. That's what that tells me. That tells me that they're not playing. That playtime is over. That's what that tells me. 500 tells me this is a premium product, and we really are okay if you want to stick with the Xbox One S. But we're not gonna. We know we can't compete with the Pro. People who are gonna get a Pro are gonna get a Pro, and people who are gonna get a Scorpio are gonna get a Scorpio. That's $100 worth of competition or lack thereof.
Okay, I got a question then for you, Mike. Does Microsoft honestly even care?
That's the question.
Because we all know the money's in software. So do they care if you buy an Xbox One S or they care if you buy Scorpio? Because they're all buying the same services regardless.
Well,
maybe they don't even care.
Well, that's just it. They want you right. And so, and maybe they see that the Pro isn't exactly lighting it up because it's also more expensive than the Slim. Peter got it. So Peter got the Pro because, Peter?
He didn't.
Because I had the funds?
No. What? No,
because I could.
You picked the Pro over the Slim because?
Well, because I want the best there is.
All right. Jason?
I picked up the Slim because it was $200 cheaper than the Pro here in Canada. It was on sale like $50 off. It's like, and plus it came with a game. It came with Uncharted 4, so saving even more money there.
And when I pick up a PS4, which I almost did, it'll be the Slim because the amount of time I will use a PlayStation 4 isn't worth the investment of a PS4 Pro. It isn't worth the extra money.
I didn't see any extra value in the Pro for me currently. So That's another reason why I didn't bug for the extra $200 to get the Pro.
So
I have to talk things over with the wife when it comes to big purchases. Yeah.
See, that's my thing. So so getting back,
I could always just go out and buy it, and then I wouldn't be here the next day.
Yeah, because your wife could kill you in your sleep.
Yes, exactly.
So
I want to live.
So this sort of slides me towards my original answer of whether where I am with this, and I said the other day that yes, the idea has moved the needle for me a bit, but I'm not a graphic guy anymore like I used to. I'm not building PCs and I'm not doing that stuff. There are some very good things that this console does for people who have 1080p television. Super sampling built in at the platform level, where a 4K game will scale down to 1080p, which is exactly what we expect from UWP and all that stuff. The hardware based anthroposcopic filtering, and I want to bring this let me bring this back up again, the picture of Forza, because I think this is significant. I think the fact that Microsoft was able to take their Forza engine and drop it into the Scorpio with 4K assets, because these are 4K assets,
in only 2 days.
In 2 days, at Xbox
no optimization.
One no, this is strictly at Xbox One settings.
Yeah, strictly like the port or whatever.
You can't see it because the screen is a little compressed, but that is 66% of its GPU usage. Now, take away for a minute whether or not you are a spec guy or not. That's impressive because that tells you have headroom. And if you guys remember our first couple of podcasts in this new format, I got my look at what GPU usage does to to a screen when you're jamming things up. I had to change out computers to accommodate. So
wasn't your GPU usage like 100% for a while, and the CPU got up there?
Yep. And so I ended up having to move to an i7 computer and put in, at least a halfway decent video card so that we could get to where we are right now with this podcast. And right now, I have room to spare. I could show some video, I could show some stuff. But even if I show a heavy video that has it's at 1080p, even if I show it in this little window, it's going to gobble up my GPU. So
it was worth the investment.
So that part I understand. Exactly. So that part I understand. And if you look at this picture, what they're saying is that even just as it looks right now, which is pretty damn good, at 4K, there is heavy room to spare. And they can... So what Ledbetter said was in their demo, they cranked the settings up to ultra, what would be like Apex, and the GPU maybe jumped up to 88%. So they can get these these heavy games. And so for 1080p owners, a 4K game will scale down. You'll still get the hardware effects and things like that. So the question becomes for me, is that in and of itself worth it? I'm not that guy that says, the game's in 900, so it looks like somebody wiped Vaseline on the TV. I'm just not. Screen tearing's an issue for me. The two things that are big issues for me are frame rate. I'll walk frame rate with you guys every day of the week, and screen tearing. Screen tearing actually, it does bother me a great deal as I've gotten older. But resolution, I could care less about a game that super samples from 4K to 1080p because I just don't care. And I'm not going to get I'm not going to get a 4K TV anytime soon unless mine lights on fire accidentally on purpose for insurance purposes. I didn't say that out loud, by the way. I'm not day one on this yet, because I've got to know that this is more than just about my backlog. Like I have no problem with the consoles I have. And it's the same reason I didn't get a Pro. There is nothing that I'm aware of, even the boost mode, that's going to make Horizon Zero Dawn look any better for me than it looks now.
For me, it does.
Does it?
Yeah, because there's a toggle, so you can toggle normal mode or the downscale mode.
And so what does it give you?
4K checkerboard downscale. It just looks better. It looks better. Even the colors are better, which I don't know that has anything to do with.
Super sampling is almost like free AA.
Yeah.
Yeah, what they're saying, Mike, is I'm assuming you have a 1080p TV, right?
Yes. And it's not. And I mean, it's a DLP on top of that. I mean, this TV is like 9 years old.
Well, they're saying any game that's in 4K would super sample down, and the image would be even better for you than it normally would because it's taking the 4K assets and sampling it down to your 1080p TV, so you get better colors and all this whole bunch of benefits that you wouldn't normally get. The game would actually be better on your TV, or at least look better
and stuff.
Yeah.
But is it $500 better?
Well, that's the question.
That's what I'm struggling with.
And it's up to each individual person on if they feel that it's worth it. Like, of course, HTK he loves this new high tech stuff, so he's day one. Yeah. Me, I like new hardware, so I try to be a day one. But it's like I said before, have to talk it over with the wife. I'll pre-order it first because I can do that for free. But then I have to, convince the wife that, it's a good purchase.
I'll end up
she won't think so.
I'll end up probably trading in my Xbox One S and putting it, because GameStop or somebody will have a promotion where you could trade in your Xbox One S and get $175 for it.
That's why I upgraded to the S, was there was a good promotion on the OG Xbox Ones. So
same thing for me. I did the exact same because I only need one Xbox, so I literally traded in my fat Xbox One, my 360, and I was able to get an Xbox One S for $30. And it was I knew in the back of my mind it was going to be a year rental because as soon as Scorpio came out, I was taking the S and I was going to put it towards the Scorpio.
Yeah, for me it was trade in your Xbox One, and it was $100, but I had a bunch of games to trade in as well, so I ended up paying like $45 or something for the S, and I figured probably the same thing, trade it in for the Scorpio one when they have a deal going on,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to trade in Mike's PS4 for my Scorpio.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Put it on the NLG triple platinum credit card.
I'm just gonna start a Patreon, and we'll just GoFundMe. Just GoFundMe for.
Are you going to include things for where people can play with you for amount of money and stuff?
Yeah, there we go.
Stop.
I'll follow you on Twitter.
Not here.
I follow Mike on Twitter. Does that mean I got to pay you money?
Yes.
Or do I owe you money for that?
Well, you're asking, yeah.
Let's move on. So anyway,
time is over.
Yeah. No, I'm still struggling. Honestly, I'm not. And then I get this thought of, well, if I'm doing that with the Scorpio, why aren't I picking up a Pro? And then then I get into that whole thing. If I do the Scorpio and I don't pick up a PS Pro, then I'm going to hear it from, from people. I've already heard it from Frankie. Well, it's
I
the
was
same.
say, I was just about to say that if Frankie's listening right now, his head's going to explode.
Yeah.
Listening to you talk about this.
Right, and so first off, it's not the. It's the same. Yes, it's the same concept, but let's be clear. Let's be clear. For a 1080p gamer, the Scorpio far and away does beyond what the PS4 Pro can do on a system-wide basis. Yes, Peter, Horizon might look better, but does the show, does not all of those games super sample? I think it's the developer dependent. There's a lot of things that are developer dependent, whereas with the Scorpio, it's baked into the silicon, and
Right.
that is you cannot discount that as a big difference.
Well, and another thing is like what you said. You're most likely gonna continue playing in multi-plats and other stuff on the Xbox ecosystem. So, it makes more sense
but
for you to get a Scorpio than a Pro.
Yeah, but going back to Scorpio, there's no chance in my mind that they're going to debalance multiplayer between the two consoles. Remember that the idea behind this is no man left behind. So
I don't imagine that'll hold.
The thing is,
forever.
my game might be ready faster than yours. Then
Yeah,
I'll be
that's
waiting.
gonna happen.
that's possible, but at the same time,
He's going to be
you're
having
not
fun
playing-
playing, and here's Mike,
you're
5
not
minutes
playing
behind.
Ghost Recon Wildlands at 60 frames per second, and I'm playing it at 30. I might be playing it at 900p, and you might be playing it at 4K or 1080p downsampled, but we're not
Right.
playing it at different frame rates. We're not playing it at different they are not going to disjoin that. They can't. I just don't know. And so again, it comes down for me, whether or not it's $500 worth of upgrades. I will say this: if it's $399 and I can get some kind of decent deal off of my OG Xbox because I don't have an S, then my head is moving that direction. Then I can see myself, and then if we start getting Mech Warrior, we start getting
Crimson Skies.
shit. That would do it.
Man.
That right there would do it. That right there would do it. Crimson Skies would be Phil. If you're listening, Rand, the next time you talk to Phil,
Yeah,
just tell
Crimson
him.
Sky.
Tell him we exist. That's
Yeah.
all that matters.
Right.
See, but the problem is that I'll be able to play Crimson Skies on the Xbox One. So then we get back to, how much better is it going to be for me? If I had a 4K TV, this would be a no-brainer. The Pro would have been a no-brainer.
How much different is it? How much different is it? I'm looking at the picture of Forza. I own Forza 6. I love Forza 6. I played a lot of Forza 6. I'm looking at that picture of Forza 6. It makes me want to go out and buy a 4K TV so I can have that Forza 6 in my living room.
I'm telling you, first time. So when I got an Xbox One S, I also for my birthday I bought a cheaper 4K TV that was on sale. And the dashboard looks better, just running in 4K. When I booted up Destiny for the first time, my mouth dropped. Because some of the colors in Destiny you don't see unless you're in, the game looked spectacular. Now, that's not true for every game. Like Rainbow Six Siege looked exactly the same. So I think it tends, game by game basis. But the games that do it well, a lot of the colorful, like Forza Horizon 3 in 4K HDR was mind blowing when I first started playing it.
Apex on that Digital Foundry video where they were talking about what to expect from Scorpio, and they were showing that. No, that absolutely looks phenomenal. It looks.
And you have to keep in mind with Apex too that it was a demo. I mean, it wasn't even like a full release. And that was a lot of that was Turn 10's kind of first effort taking their whole tools and setup and applying it to a PC thing. So I don't know that it's the best metric to measure where they're going to be able to do with it because it was the first outing.
But from no, strictly from a standpoint of because when they showed that, they showed it at 4K with 4 MSAA and ultra mode. So what they were showing was this thing slamming through at 60 frames per second, and the colors. I mean, the colors popped. The everything looked sharper. There's no doubt. But I don't have a TV that takes advantage of it, and that's what makes this not so much a slam dunk for me.
I think those are going to continue to come down, though.
Yeah, they'll come down.
They're the real deal. It's not 3D. It's not,
Mike, I bought mine
at a 70-inch today for $600.
Yeah, I bought mine for $350, Mike.
Right.
So they'll constantly come down in price.
What
and then
size?
40-inch.
Okay, so what I'm playing on right now, and DLP was famous for this. This is why DLP did so well for the times that it did. 72.
Oh, so you're one of those. See, I can't game on a huge TV because my eyes dart everywhere.
I can't.
Yeah, he wants to game from space or something. But meanwhile, I play on a 32-inch TV.
It's that.
I got like a 60-inch behind me. I don't use that. It's 4K. I like the smaller TV.
Yeah, I have my 40-inch and I sit maybe like 3 or 4 feet away from it.
If I owned a movie theater, and I could play on a movie theater screen, I would do it.
60 inches or less is not a thing for me.
I just don't know if I could.
That could be taken the wrong way, but I'm talking about
TVs. What TV? What are you rocking now for your gaming?
Nothing too spectacular. It was a floor model. It was my upgrade from 1080i to 1080p. It's 120 refresh. So it's what is it? It's a Aquios Sharp.
Yeah,
so
those are
like what, 60 inches, 70 inches.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I played on big screens. I don't know. All my gaming has always been done in the small. Like my entire 360 gen, I played on like a 27-inch TV, and then I got a 32-inch 1080p at the start of like this one, and then I was like, all right, well, here's a 40-inch TV. I've been at my friends' places. I can't do it. The TV's just too big. My eyes are just going everywhere.
It takes a lot of getting used to.
Yeah, I like to be able to just see the image and then just play and not have my eyes darting around it. But that's me. I know a lot of other people are like, I want it on a 100-foot screen, and I want it in 4K so I can sit 15 feet back in my chair.
But
it depends on the game.
But that's how I am. I mean, I don't know if this may be a little jarring, and I don't even know if it can work. Hold on. But hang on. So this is my setup. That is my TV.
Yeah, you pretty much want to see that thing from space,
those are my that's my 72-inch TV. You can see the Kinect at the bottom and my stereo system. You can see my Xbox 360 faceplates on the wall.
And you can throw the Kinect in garbage. You know that, right?
Stop. No, never. And then that is my...
Are those all movies, or is that like a mixture of games, movies?
Games are on the far left. The very top shelf, you can't really see them, but are in television games, and then that's all my retro stuff. And then that is where I game from. That's my couch. So I am 13 feet from my television. The whole... I just can't... I did a 65, and I could probably go back and do another 65. But
Mike, if you knew the games we lost because of Kinect, you would throw that thing in the garbage, man.
Never. I will still.
What if I told you they were doing a Crimson Skies 2 and it was canceled for Kinect games? What would you say then?
I would say that that's not true.
Here's what I know. Here's what I know for a fact.
He knows it in his heart.
Here's what I know.
He's dying on the inside.
There were a multitude of core games that were canceled at the end of the 360 life cycle in favor for Kinect games.
I agree. Yes. So I know that. But
throw it in the garbage.
Part of that. Hold on.
Throw it in the garbage.
But
nope.
Okay. But that's also because Xbox gamers bought Kinect Sports. If Xbox gamers didn't buy Kinect Sports, and if they didn't buy, if they didn't break a freaking Guinness Book of World Record for sales of an accessory with Kinect, then they wouldn't be in this position. Actually, to be quite honest with you, if they actually had followed through with some of the stuff they were doing with this Kinect, all that cool stuff we saw at the beginning, where the guy was, took his controller and he held it up and a shield popped up and shit like that. If we got that kind of stuff, I think there would be some other. I think we'd be in a different place with that.
That's kind of sad that more people would rather buy Kinect Sports than buy Rise 2 or Sunset Overdrive or.
I'm not saying now. I'm saying that if they had
what does the Xbox community become?
I used the Kinect with Rise.
Yeah, so did I, because it was easier to say volley than actually perform the action on the controller.
I'll tell you where that became a game changer Kinect for me on the 360 was freaking Skyrim. The fact that you could say out loud what you want to, equip sword and shield rather than stop the game, go to the menu, go find my shield, go find my sword.
Oh, I never tried that.
Or doing, oh god, man, it made the game totally different. When I could do the dragon commands without having to pause the game and go find it, that was game changing for me. So I mean, that kind of stuff was just the tip of the iceberg of what I wanted. And watching my kids, my kids and I still play Fantasia Evolved, which is a fantastic game. I would have liked to have seen a game, use, some of the motion control along with the controller like they had promised. But that stuff just went away. Then they pissed off Harmonix, and that's all she wrote. Now, basically, it's a glorified turn on my Xbox thing.
I used it for Anna tonight.
Anna's good. It's good for Anna. It is good
Anna
for Anna.
Rocks.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about burning it. It's dead. It's done. Burning it, I get why someone would want to do it, but it's actually, I still use it regularly, daily. So, I can't see burning it for spite when it's already dead.
Yeah, that, it's like I say with other people, like with these consoles or with PSVR, it's like, I don't tell anybody to buy or not buy it. That's not my job. I don't, it's not my place to tell any of you shouldn't be day one for Scorpio. That's not my place. Whether or not I am going to be day one or not is irrelevant to whether or not you guys are. And it's not my place. So it's, I know they killed it. I am aware. I'm still mad about it, but I understand. What am I going to do? I'm one guy. I'm the same guy who apparently is the only one who used Snap in the entire world, and so that's gone. And so it doesn't. What's it matter at this point? I used to
do the Snap all the time before, but then. I don't know, after watching quite a few podcasts and people saying Xbox this, Xbox that, and it changing my channels on my TV, I unhooked the thing and said, no more. Thanks, Rand. You changed it on me a few times.
Anyway, so, and besides, if that really was holding back Crimson Skies 2, we'd have had Crimson Skies 2 after they dropped it, so there's that too. Anyway,
I still can see my TV change and on me. Like quit talking. Yeah, get the remote and try to fix it again.
So,
those were.
Do you think we get any VR with Scorpio at E3?
Anything about VR? What do you think, Rand? Rand?
We lost Rand.
Oh no.
I think he's.
I didn't hear that.
Hopefully he's.
Maybe he muted.
Maybe that means there's going to be VR.
Either that or he's mad that I like the Kinect still.
Maybe.
Well, I think that Phil was interviewed by I think it was Unlocked. Is that who it was? Whoever. Shaggy interviewed him with the others, and
Shaggy.
And he asked him about VR, and I think he said that it's something that they're looking at and they have plans for, but it's like back burner. We're still waiting on it to evolve more.
Yeah, didn't they want I don't know, it to become cheaper or more efficient to make or something like that?
Yeah, but what about the third-party one, like Oculus or Vive?
I
maybe
thought
maybe we get games through them.
I thought their partnership with Oculus would have made that happen.
Yeah.
Well, that but then you had the whole deal with Oculus and Palmer Luckey and all that, so maybe that's not high on their priority right now.
Could be.
Yeah, who knows?
Because he kind of had I didn't follow it, but I know that he had some issues.
Well, that's I who knows why he left. I tell you that they're not looking at it as a great thing that he left. That's for sure. Because he as the pioneer of the Oculus, I'm not sure anybody else there has really a clue where they want to go with it. And it's not doing great because it's still expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way would I want to go out and buy one because of the price, and two, I don't know how well VR will work with, pretty much only seeing out one eye,
What?
Yeah, I've told you before, I'm basically only see out of my left eye compared to my right. So when, how you get those 3D glasses, they don't work for me.
Oh, right.
So I never attempted 3D anything because after I tried a couple times with the glasses, no, it didn't work. So I'm not sure how VR would work for me. I've always kind of been curious, but I wouldn't want to spend $600 to find out.
Yeah, true.
Gotcha.
Too much money to spend on something that, may not work for me. My wife wants to try VR, though, too. I want to get her some scary games for that, I want to see her jump.
Mine refuses adamantly. She's not into the jump scares.
Oh, I got Shannon to play. What's that? The one Slenderman or whatever.
Oh, you're talking about the Arrival or whatever.
Yeah.
It was the free one on the PC. I got her playing that one back a couple of years ago. I thought it was funny, and she played a little bit of Outlast. And as soon as the big guy came along, nope, that was it.
All right, Rand.
Uh,
Yep.
I think we lost him. Although he's not dropping out of the call.
Thought I heard something.
I'm almost thinking that his mic's not working. Maybe he muted his mic and had to do something. Possibility.
He got a call or something.
Yeah, he could have got a call.
Hopefully it's not getting flooded.
Right. Oh yeah, maybe not. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not Phil. The hell are you guys talking about?
My wife just gave me trouble. She's still watching.
So
I sent her a smiley face.
Maybe
She knows I love when she plays scary games because it gives me a laugh.
Oh man. All right, so I think we've Scorpio'd on. Any last thoughts before we move on? Because I'd like to get to a couple of games we were playing.
Scorpio.
Yeah, day one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every time I hear Scorpio, I think, do you ever watch Hook with Robin Williams? How that one guy's name is Rufio? I used to go Rufio. I keep thinking that. But Scorpio.
Nice.
I love that movie. It was
Been a while.
great film. I got it on Blu-ray. So
Nice.
I keep thinking Serpico.
okay.
So.
Rufio.
Nice.
It's an awesome name.
Yeah. All right.
But anyways, Scorpio, love it.
Scorpio. All right.
Going to try to get a day one. Wife is listening, and she's probably thinking no. There's that. So.
All right. So let's talk
now.
about a couple of games. If Rand comes back, he has one too he wants to talk about. But let's move on. So I think we've all kind of gotten to where we need to be with this, and we'll see. E3 is next up. That's our next.
Yeah, it's not far away.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're waiting a year to find out.
Yeah, that's our next hopping point. $3.99 might be enough. Yeah. We'll see. That might be enough for me. We'll see.
Well, I think Rand said that there was another publication that had the scoop for the look of the thing, so you may see that prior to E3.
Right.
Obviously, E3 is going to be the thing because of the games, but.
Well, sure.
But I think you'll get more.
I think they'll just announce the price at E3, and then boom. Games.
I tell you, it could be that mic drop moment and come out and say $3.99.
That'd be nice. The cheaper, the better.
End the show with that.
Yeah.
Oh, right. You get done showing all the games. Say thanks, guys. Good night. Starts to walk off stage. And Phil turns around and says, "Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. $3.99," and then walks off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could see
happen.
that.
Then drops the mic and then.
Could see that. That would be high drama, but that would be neat. All right. Games. We had a couple of games we wanted to talk about, so we're gonna switch gears. And Peter, I want to start with you because you've been quiet again, so I'm gonna make you talk.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I've been playing Thimbleweed Park. It's a game by Ron Gilbert, and he made games like Manic Mansion and Monkey Island games. It's a point-and-click adventure, and yeah, it's a very fun game. And what's cool about this game is like you control like multiple characters. There are like two characters. I forgot the name, Ray, and I forgot the other name. But so you can control them both and go on your quest. And the game starts off with a corpse, and you're kind of detectives and trying to figure out what went on. So
HDK is on the case.
Exactly, a very fun game. There's unlimited inventory, which is always comes in handy. And basically, you pick a verb, you pick an object, and that's kind of how it works. And the humor is very funny. It has some, a little bit of history with the other games and their competitor Sierra Games. And in Sierra Games, you would always die. In this game, you don't die, and that's a lot of fun. It's a good game.
You know what Ron's known for, right? Beyond just this game, it's this whole engine.
Oh yeah, exactly the first game he made, Maniac Mansion. He used like an engine, and he used that in the later games. It's the Scum engine.
Yep.
And
it actually, it stood for script. Come on, I just had it. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Script creation under Maniac Mansion. So Maniac Mansion was in the title, and then and so it was all about what you were saying with picking and choosing the dialogue and stuff.
Right.
So that's not your first. I mean, you've played those games.
Oh yeah, I've played the games, even like going back to PC, like the Indiana Jones games.
Those were awesome.
Yeah, King's Quest and all that stuff.
Yep.
But so yeah, it's just even though it's not made by him, but it's the same thing, with the point and click adventures. It's that really started the love for for PC gaming back in the days. So I'm really glad that they have a new, not a remastered like Monkey Island, but a new game in Thimbleweed Park.
I love it. You're trying to wake this guy up.
Yeah.
Ignoring. Well, I have to go.
I do like that they went with the modern kind of style, and it's very evocative of Maniac Mansion, which is smart, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed. Although I have to say, you brought up Indiana Jones. My favorite of these games was Indiana Jones and Fate of Atlantis.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
And I remember there was a PC like back before everything was on CD-ROM. They made a CD version of that game where they had voiceovers and they had much better music, and your Sound Blaster card kind of took off in that time, and you got the real Indiana Jones music and some of the art assets and stuff. And these games, I played a lot of these too.
Yeah, they were great.
I never played them.
Here's your chance.
No.
Rand, did you play?
I got other things I got to deal with.
I've played, I think I'm on Act 3 or Chapter 3 of this game. Just so much came out at the time, but I didn't give this one much of a look, even though I wanted to. I'll probably go back and play it. But I'm more of the kind of guy, I get frustrated with these type of games sometimes, so I'll have a guide or a walkthrough handy just in case I do get stuck. So I can easily just reference it and move it along. I know, like, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but it is for me. So
As long as you're having fun with it.
Right, that's a valid way to do it. I'm a fan of the type of game. I loved the 7 Max game, the Telltale games. I think that's some of the best stuff Telltale ever did.
Yeah, the 7 Max games on the 360 were fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I learned of them though. For me, my mind share there goes back to Game Tap.
Game Tap. I had Game Tap.
I loved Game Tap.
I
back in my primary PC gamer days.
Have a nice T-shirt from E3.
You know, this is a type of game that would have been featured in Summer of XBLA.
Yep.
As a core one game that came out that week, and they put all their marketing behind it. Now it's just a game that comes out during a week where there's 10 other games like it.
Well, there's nothing like this.
No, I mean, there's 10 other indie games.
Indie games.
So it's like, I mean, I know what, you know, it's how the market changed, you know, like, basically, there's so many, like, this industry is kind of driven by a lot of indie games. They fill out the gaps because the AAA releases are few and far between for the most part. And there's a lot of indie devs, and ID at Xbox is really good about wanting all the different types of games on their platform. So when you allow that stuff in, it's like, yeah, you get a game like this, which is great, but then there's 6 other games that come out this, like, I think Snake Pass came out the same day. And Snake Pass, I think, got way more press than this game did.
Every time I turn around, somebody's posting about how good Snake Pass is and how you should give it a try and all that stuff. And a couple people, you know, just talk about the other random games that I never even heard of, up until the point that they mentioned it.
Right. Oh, so I found it. I was very close. The SCUM acronym stands for Script Creation Utility for Maniac Mansion.
Right.
So I was close.
I meant to get that game again.
Maniac Mansion?
Yeah.
And I have Monkey Island too for 360, the remaster.
That was on the NES, wasn't it?
Monkey Island was PC.
No. Maniac Mansion. I think there was a NES port for that.
Well, there might have been an NES port, but it was definitely. It actually came out as far back as Commodore 64.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're enjoying it, Peter? Have you beat it yet?
Oh no, I've only played that first. What was it? Hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I forgot how long my video was, but
it was like a 2-hour video.
2 hours, yeah. So I'm 2 hours in.
Nice. And enjoying it?
And I'm enjoying it. Yeah, this is great. Brings back so many memories of just this genre. It's awesome.
Nice.
Love it.
Post E3, I'm in. We'll just say I'm in talks to see if I can get Ron to come on the show. If I can get him on after E3.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah. So hopefully.
We're all having our poopsie colas ready.
Yeah. I would love to pick that man's brain. I mean, the stuff he's done. So.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
I guess we're boring Nate. He's laying down or something.
Yeah. We don't see his
my
legs.
shoulders acting up.
Well, tilt your camera down. You only see half your face.
Yeah.
There you go. So, all right. So we have some Thimbleweed Park. It looks cool. How much is it?
It's $19.99.
Worth it?
Worth it. For me, it's definitely worth it. Yes.
Awesome.
I probably would have bought it if it was $10.
I think it's just, backlog.
You hate games, Nate.
Yeah. What's up with you?
Don't lie.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you go to the website. There's a whole history about their pricing and stuff. What they thought about, like from $14.99 to, they wanted to sell for $24.99, and then it's like, and then they finally settled on $19.99. It's just interesting.
That's funny. All right. Well, that's Thimbleweed Park. Rand, you're our guest. I know you had a game that you wanted to talk about, and I actually pulled some footage of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it was a game I recently played called Blackwood Crossing, which came out this past week on Xbox. It's from Paper 7, published by Vision Games Publishing, I think. And for lack of a better term, it is a walking simulator. I know I kind of hate like saying that term, but you know, when you describe what a game is, like you basically walk, you interact with things, you solve puzzles, but the main focus is the story. You basically wake up on a train, you play as a young teenager named Scarlet, and the only other passenger on the train is your brother Finn. And this kind of weird mystery starts to unfold. And I just fell in love with the game, to be honest with you. The puzzles aren't too hard, and they kind of serve the backdrop to the story. But man, the story really it like pulled me in, and then it gut punched me, you know, at a particular point. And I can't say enough about this game. I honestly, like adore this game. I mean, but that's not saying it's not his faults. I thought the camera movement was a little bit slow, so I had to like turn that up a little bit so I could turn faster. And your walking speed is slow because sometimes you got to walk in between places back and forth. And I kind of wish that was a little bit faster. But for the most part, everything else in the game is top notch. The voice acting, the story, the visuals, the music. I mean, honestly, I can't say more enough praise for this game. It's $16, and it is short. I think I beat it in 4 hours, finding everything, getting all the achievements, and I played it again, which on my second playthrough, I beat it in an hour. So a lot of people him and haw about, well, it's $16, you know, worth the 4-hour thing, and you know, I say if you value kind of it's because it's a very deep story. It deals with a lot of deep themes: love, loss, life, abandonment, death, things like that. I mean, this isn't just like some kind of whimsical story. I mean, this is kind of some deep stuff going on here. But yeah, I honestly, like, I think I gave it an 8.5, which is the same score I gave Resident Evil 7, so it's tied for my best game of the year so far that I played.
Wow. Visually looks neat. I mean, it.
Yeah, it looks interesting, and it sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that'll always turn off people is the price. $16 is expensive. You know, like same thing with Thimbleweed Park. People hear $20 and they're just like, you know, like. But I mean, like here, like you get to this part, and this is the first whiff that something weird's going on because you see this bunny, this, you know, kind of straight from Donnie Darko, a character with like a bunny rabbit head on it, and you're just like, whoa, what the heck is going on in this game? And then it just turn. You're right. You just turn. Oh. Yeah. So it's you're on a train, but you're not always on a train. But it's super interesting. If you have the $16 and if you like these story-driven linear games like Dear Esther or like Firewatch or like Virginia, like that type of genre, yeah, like this game is probably for you. Because I adored pretty much all those games. I thought Virginia was fantastic, but yeah, I mean, even this part here, I mean, he's getting dragged into this blackness. And this is like literally like the first like 5 minutes of the game, so it's kind of like what am I in for the rest of the game, you know? Because I took all these clips basically because I'm, you know, when story is paramount to a game, especially in a game like this because it's a linear story-driven game, I didn't want to like take clips from like the end of the game. So this is all kind of stuff in the beginning. But yeah, it's one of the best indie games out there, especially for this year, you know. So
wow. Nice.
It's been a good gen for indie games. With Inside, Life is Strange.
Well, there's some really good ones.
Galaxy.
I haven't done a video for it yet, but I've been playing Enter the Gungeon, and that game is.
I heard that was
really,
good.
Really good. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, they're just fun. I mean, obviously there are bad games too, like Verdun, and a few of the other ones. But the problem is, like I said before, there's so many games out there, so many. And most people aren't like willing to look deep into the store to see what they are, and they only have that 1 week where they're like up front, and then after that, it's kind of like they fall off the face of the like because like this week we have what Ukulele comes out, we have Aereo that comes out, we have the Sexy Brutal that comes out, and I think there's another game. I think there's 4 games this week from ID at Xbox. It's like, how do you make your game stand out in any way so other people besides like someone like me will see, we'll see what the game even offers. So this is I think it's coming up to the end of the clip here, and this is where you can kind of get a sense of like where it really becomes like these are all different characters and they all have masks on. They're like your family, so that's like actually your dad, but he's got this lion mask on, and all these people are basically people you interact with, and you're like, why are they all wearing masks? Why are they all frozen? And you got to solve a little puzzle here. So you got to kind of like put the person that they're replying to, and then so this, you talk to her, but then you got to go to the right person on the train and talk to that person because she's talking to him. And once you do that, it kind of solves the puzzle. But right here is where you really get a sense of like this fantastical kind of nature that the game offers. So you're following your brother Finn on the train, and he constantly kind of disappears, but there's like grass, that he leaves behind. So I'm playing the game and I'm wondering what the heck is going on? Why is there this grass? And then you come up to this part up here, and like this is where I kind of like first was like, okay, well, this is interesting. Like, what is really going on here?
Oh, wow.
It looks like a neat game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is there a tree on the train? And why is he
question.
climbing up a clubhouse in the train? So, the mystery, the intrigue, and I thought the story was like that's kind of what drove me to. I think I beat it in one sitting too. Like I was just that engrossed in the game.
Wow.
All right. Well, let's not give too much more of it away.
Yeah.
Excellent. A nice video. All right. We have that. All right. My turn. So this week I did take a break from playing Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff.
Yep.
To
I don't
play
believe you.
one of my favorite racing indie games out there, Mantis Burn Racing. They just released 2 sets of DLC, one free and one paid. So the free DLC, which is what you're seeing here and you'll see in my footage in a few minutes, is called the Snowbound Pack. And basically it's 4 tracks with some insane weather effects, snow on the track, snow during the races, and jumps and dives and things that are, it's tough. This game by itself is not easy, but it's a lot of fun. So now you'll see the footage that I took, and as part of their DLC that came out that you pay for, which is what you're seeing here with these cars, is called the Elite DLC pack. It is a whole new class of car that actually doesn't have wheels. They are they're hoverboards, hover machines.
Well, then you don't have to worry about the snow.
More or less. Well, yes and no. They're fast, but they are damn hard to control sometimes. And if you hit the wall, you can pretty much bounce around like a pinball. But you see on this track, so you see this big giant jump. One of the things that this game does so well is that you don't understand the scale of the tracks until you drive them, and you see that you're actually not just going linear. So games like Micro Machines, which I loved, games like Super Off-Road from the arcade, and there were some other games that came out that were not that great that tried to do this, things like Rockin' Racing and stuff like that. Mantis Burn does this right in that if you're watching what's going on the screen, you're not just going through a track, making turns, you're going up and down as well. So you're getting different levels. Sometimes you go underneath your own track. Sometimes you could see here, like there's 3 levels to this turn, and you're going to hit all 3 of those levels as you go down. And so that these new tracks that they show are kind of part and parcel with that. Now, the game itself is 60 frames per second, but our podcast, of course, is 30. So what you're seeing is a little bit of stuttering because it's trying to compensate for that with the video. And I also took these videos directly off the Xbox rather than the Elgato. So like in this track, you got this blue kind of hue to it, but you see these really hefty jumps that you have to make, and you kind of have to time them so you don't hit the wall, because that can slow you down. And like I say, in these new cars, the handling on them you have to build up, which of course you do by playing the campaign. As you play and you gain XP and you gain points and stuff, you can, of course, upgrade your cars, and then you can bring them back, and play them in these tracks. Or you can take them online, because this does have online play, and it's an absolute shame I couldn't find anybody online, because, this is not one of, the other problem that it kind of Rand alludes to with indies is, how do you get marketing for them? Vufu made a wonderful game, and I don't know how much they've sold of it, because who knows how many people have bought it. The cars that you're seeing, there are also 3 of them in this new DLC. So they're all and all 3 of them are hover cars. One of them is more of a truck, and so it's obviously it's slower but has better handling. The car that I picked is it's fast, but really has to. You can see me bouncing off the track, and if you watched me stream this the other night, I kept saying "ouch" a lot, because it's just you've got to be precise. And so again, this is a game that if you're into tabletop racing, which is another game that just came out, if you're into games like that, games like Micro Machines, even going back to like Revolt and stuff like that, I think you find something here, and it's online, so you can get a little competitive with people online. And like here, you see again these giant jumps. This particular track kind of goes into like a couple of loops upon itself, and then just has these giant crevices you have to go through, and then coming up, you got to be careful, because the edge of the track drops off, and if you aren't careful, you fall off the end of that track. So, like I said, there's challenge to it. The AI, as you can see, never makes a mistake.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I hate about these games is if you're playing against the computer, you forget about it.
They never hit the wall.
Yeah, you have to be dead perfect to win. You see me, I am not the computer.
Driving like a drunk man.
Yeah, driving like a drunk hoverboard guy. So, this game, I believe, is also $20, and the DLC I think is 10. I have to go and look real quick. But for me, and it's actually, I believe it's in one of the sales too coming up. If you have a chance to get this game, it's really cool, and I'm enjoying it, and it's one that I can go back to and run through. It's got for single player, it does have a full campaign, not a campaign. It's got a full set of leagues. So you have an entire career mode for single player, and then of course you have local co-op and then online racing as well. Not local co-op, local racing, and then online racing. So that is Mantis Burn Racing and their new DLC, the Snowbound Pack, and the Elite DLC cars that you are seeing here.
Looks fun.
It does.
I like it.
I enjoyed watching you.
Yeah, I know.
So what's the DLC called? Elite Class DLC?
Yes. And it's
it's $249.
$249. Oh shit, that's
Yeah.
even better.
And the game is $14.99.
There you go. Even better. Thank you.
Man, it's a very, very cool game. I played it when it first came out, and it's a very excellent, probably maybe even the best kind of top-down racing game on there. I know there's been a few of these released recently, like Tabletop Racing and Obliteracers and Coffin Dodgers and games of their ilk, but this is probably the best one.
Yeah, this is a class. And Vufu Studios is, they're a great developer. They kind of know what they're doing with these games. And what you're not seeing here is the frame rate. It is rock solid smooth. It is butter smooth, and it's a lot of fun. So Rand's right.
I don't know. I've had lumpy butter before.
No, there's no lumpy butter in this. There isn't even stuttering. I don't even see stuttering in the game. Like sometimes you can make a turn on a racing game, you can see a little bit of stutter as you turn. I don't even see that on here.
And I've seen this game a few times, and I've been close to buying it. It was on sale once, I believe, for like $10 or something.
Get it.
Sure.
Get it. You know how I talk about vector unit games all the time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I talk about this game the same way. Get it.
Dude, Vector Unit. I put up my vid a month ago for Riptide Renegade G2. Oh boy, that game is fantastic.
Oh my god, yeah.
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 It's so good. I got the 1,000 completely, like did the campaigns and all that stuff. And while the campaign was long, but man, the game was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot better than their previous game. Like I like to see how they improved. I like the backgrounds of the different levels and stuff. But yeah, a fantastic game.
It was fantastic, and because they're the ones who made Hydro Thunder Hurricane, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we had Matt Small on our show. I don't know,
A few months ago or something?
Yeah, a few months ago.
Yeah.
So he came on to talk to us about Renegade, and at the time the Xbox version wasn't out yet because they were moving it to Play Anywhere, which is also nice. So, but he was we loved having him on. He was a great guy. So they've got a new game coming, by the way. It's not right now, it's just in mobile. And the name of it's not quite a racing game, but it is definitely it has that, it's called Mousebot. It has that sort of kind of front moving feel to it. It's right now it's iOS and Android, but I hear pray tell that they're looking at maybe bringing that to console too.
Hopefully this time it comes to Xbox the same time as everything else.
Well, again, there was a reason for Riptide. The Riptide had a legit reason for it, and it was worth the wait to get it Play Anywhere.
And the Play Anywhere stuff. A lot of games been doing that now. That game, Enter the Gungeons, Play Anywhere. Yeah. Ukulele is going to be Play Anywhere.
They said no.
I just read something.
Yeah, I did too, and then they turned around and said no.
So they said it was going to be, and then they said it. Sorry, we were wrong.
Yeah, I think because I saw that, and then who was it that retracted? Because somebody wrote the article on it. I think it was Game Informer, and then Game Informer said they retracted it.
Well, they weren't saying it was going to be Play Anywhere at launch, just that it would come later. That's interesting.
Yeah. So maybe that's what they were. Maybe they misinterpreted what Team 17 was saying then, because that's what. I saw that, and I saw it on Twitter, and then they said, and then it was like an edit. No, it's really not. So, who knows?
Have any of you guys gotten to play Ukulele yet?
No.
Yeah, here we go. Update. Ukulele will not support Play Anywhere on Xbox One, Windows 10 version coming soon. So it will no longer support that feature.
Saw that today.
Yeah, Team 17 has informed us that the game will not support the Play Anywhere feature despite the original Xbox Wire's post claims. Additionally, the Windows 10 version of the game is now listed as coming soon.
Interesting. I wonder why the Xbox Wire posted that it was then. I wonder if did something break down between that? That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very interesting.
Which is funny because it came from the blog post came from Mike Nelson, so it didn't come from there. I think it was just maybe listed. Because it was listed in games with like Crawl and Arrow and the Sexy Brutale, so maybe it was just a miscommunication.
Right.
So.
Oh well, Play Anywhere is a cool feature. It's a nice consumer pro feature. Hopefully, it takes on more developers use it in the future.
Warner Brothers.
We've seen some pretty big third-party ones pick it up. The Capcom, Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that though is like deals, like Microsoft paying them to do it.
It just seems like, why would you not want to have your game on more platforms?
Yeah. The problem with that though is nobody really plays on Windows 10 though.
No, but that knowing that I can, I will.
Well, yeah.
Like for Riptide.
I
Like,
played a couple of games, through Play Anywhere or whatever, but it's not something I jump on daily. I just prefer to launch my consoles.
Yeah. No. All right. Moving on, because we are definitely going to overdo the 3 hour mark. So I want to get to our final couple of things, and of course, one of them is our weekly new feature. And
I don't know what this is.
yeah, well, he got a little
nap time.
Unfortunately, I got it. I kept it up on the screen too long, but Juan, I was going to surprise you with this.
Break. Cool.
I'll improve it as time goes on, but it is now time for Juan's retro recommendations.
Love the music with that. That was pretty cool.
Before we start, thank you, Juan, for playing Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's all good. I mean, it was one of those that had evaded me, so I had wanted to do it. It was just a good excuse.
Nice. All right, so this week's game. Hold on, I'm getting there.
Get that mouse off my forehead.
I kept looking at that throughout the show, and I'm like, what is it? It's freaking me out.
I tried to catch it in my hand the one time, and then it moved.
Oh, it's because it's part of the exploit. Hey, look, man, nobody pays me for this, so deal with it. All right, Juan, the floor is yours. Let me know when to start the video.
Yeah, I think this week we're going to start. Before we start to play, I want to read off a real quick thing. The last thing you remember is standing before the wizard Lakmir as he gestured wildly and chanted in archaic tongue. Now you find yourself standing at an entryway which lies at the edge of a forest. Behind you is Shia LaBeouf. No, I'm kidding. The druid's words still ringing in your ears. Within the walls of Castle Shadowgate lies your quest. If the prophecies hold true, the dreaded warlock Lord will use his dark magic to raise the behemoth, the largest, the deadliest of the titans from the depths of the earth. You are the seed of prophecy, the last of the line of kings, and only you can stop the warlock Lord from darkening our world forever. Fare thee well. Go ahead and kick it off.
Nice. All right, here we go.
So that's actually the intro text to the game, but we're going to do today's show. We're going to go back to 1989 on the Nintendo Entertainment System with Shadowgate. Love this game, always have. It was published by Kemco Seika and developed by ICOM Simulations. Originally as part of the Mac Venture series of games on the Macintosh, which was Deja Vu, Uninvited, and this. And they did well enough to get a NES port. And this was the first one ported over. That was in February. No, it was 89 anyway. Kemco Seika, of course, they were a big time Nintendo OG licensee. It was one of the first ones. Tons of games, including one of my favorites on the SNES, which is Top Gear. Primarily in the 2000s. They're still around, but mostly they do Android and iOS RPGs. This is kind of a throwback. It's almost kind of similar to actually what Peter was playing with Thimbleweed, and that it's a point-and-click graphic adventure. And the story, as we talked about, is you got the evil wizard Lakmir. He's going to be trying to bring up the behemoth and take over the world, and you have to make your way into Castle Shadowgate and solve a series of puzzles and locate and assemble the Staff of Ages so that you can save the world from the impending threat. You've got the command all on the screen. The play area is basically just a little picture window in the corner there, but some animations here and there. I like the music personally. I thought it was kind of cool, and it changes up for different scenarios. Torch management is a big thing. You can pick up torches along the way, but there's a finite number of torches and they burn out, and that's essentially your timer on the game. You have to get all completed before you run out of torches, because anytime it goes dark, if you go completely torchless, then you stumble around until you hit your head on something and die. And you die a lot in this game. Like in this scenario there, I just
Oh, it's like
picked
Dark
up the
Souls.
book. Right. It is the Dark Souls of puzzle games. And like there, I picked up the book from the place, and the floor opens and you die. And basically in this game, when you're presented with anything, there's one right thing to do, and everything else kills you. So we go back. One thing that's nice on the console versions is it just picks up right where you leave off. You don't have to have necessarily saved. So go back in and pick up my torches again because I kind of wanted those, and then I open up the book this time instead of picking it up. And it turns out that it's got a cutout, and inside is a key. And so I'm gonna take the key from the book, leave the book, and not fall into the pit and die, and carry on my adventure. But you got your standard commands: your look, take, open, close, hit, use, move, and speak. The look one is a big one for your first playthrough because there's a lot of what is this, and a lot of hints and going back and forth between the items until you figure out the order of what. And it's like anything with these kind, it's clicking on this and saying, well, does it work here, or does it work here, or does it work here? Except you die a lot more in this one, which is I like it. But with the different ways to die, there's many of them. You can fall to death, as we've seen. There's a shark attack. There's a cyclops to kill you. There's dragon fire.
Sorry, did you say shark attack?
Yeah, shark attack.
Tornado?
Yeah,
I guess so,
shark
yeah.
attack.
Shark just comes out of the floor.
There's no rules in Castle Shadowgate, let me tell you. No, there's a place, and I think it might even be in the video, where there's a lagoon or a pool. There's a skeleton standing in it, but and he's got a key that you want, but you can't just like swim over or walk over and take it because there's a shark that patrols, and if you go in there, you will definitely die. This particular room, you get the description that it's hot, and there's eyes on the other side of the room, and I'm like, ooh, I think I want that spear. So I'm gonna, use the take command and pick up the spear. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'll use the look command first, and it's gonna describe the eyes. And you can look at everything. The game has a ton of graphic description for, text description for everything you can look at. And I took the spear, and that was maybe the wrong choice because the dragon got mad and he roasted me. So
Crispy.
good and dead. And that's I love the death music. I love it. Often there's like little snarky, sardonic comments when you die, like, "Oh, that was stupid," or you chose poorly, and now the behemoth's going to take over the world, or whatever. Of course, the smart move here is to pick up the shield first on the round, and then you'll be protected for a limited number of dragon blasts, so you can clean up the rest of the loot in the room. And it's just that kind of trial and error gameplay, which hasn't, you don't see a lot in today type gaming. It's definitely an older mechanic, but at the time, this was another one of those things where it was kind of platform crossing, almost like Jurassic Park with the mouse. This kind of point-and-click adventure hadn't really been done a lot on the consoles. Had been, of course, a lot of that on the PC with the King's Quest
And there's the shark.
There is the shark right there with our pond. And we had picked up the orb in the previous room from a different part I had clipped out, where I had a white gem and I put it in the socket and I got the orb, or the sphere, and then I can put that in the water because it's cold. It'll freeze the water. I can get the key, whatever. And then, of course, if you've played a bunch of times, you know that later you need the sphere. So you melt the water a little bit with the torch so you can get it back out. Otherwise, you bang your head against the puzzle later and die a bunch of times and can't figure out why. Until you figure out, I need that. And that's, that kind of that joy of that old type of play. Of course, it has the, save the world, get the princess ending. So you gotta love that. One of my favorite sections of it, my favorite parts, is there's a troll bridge. So the troll pops up and, wants a toll. And you can kill him, or you can try to answer his question, or trick him. And you can only do that so many times. But
3 questions, sir.
Right. This closet, what is your favorite color? This closet has a sling and a sword. And then as I was getting up on the kind of the time frame that I wanted to be running this video, I decided to look at the sword and get a description on it, and pick it up and look at it. And it's if I remember right, it's a double-edged broadsword with Druidic script writing on the handle. And then I decided, because the video's about done, I was going to use it on, what am I going to use it on? I'm going to use it on myself. And then, it's, you stab yourself and blood flows, and what have you done? Suicide doesn't help, and then you get the death screen again. But as I said, I really love this game. It's kind of a classic. It's kind of a cult thing, and it's been on a ton of platforms, but I wanted to put that on the list of the games that I recommend if you have one of these systems. So if you have a NES and that's not in your collection, it is my recommendation. They're readily available. They're all over the place. You can get them a loose cart for less than $10 from third-party places. So if you want to kind of trip back to the old school stuff that Thimbleweed Park is an homage to or a continuation of, this is it. I mean, short of actually Maniac Mansion, obviously, but so that's this week's recommendation.
Nice. You actually have somebody in chat, Fastback, who played this game.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. It definitely made the rounds. It's maybe one of the less obscure ones that I've picked, other than maybe Road Rash. But
he said his brother and him would draw maps of the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, you had to do that kind of stuff, because there wasn't. This is 80, 89, so I don't think we had an internet connection in my house. So it wasn't like you're gonna pop onto GameFAQs again. This is that old school gaming. This one at least had a save feature, and it had the hint feature too, which was kind of unique to the SNES version, or not SNES. I'm sorry, Nintendo version. The PC and Mac versions, you had a lot of hints in the text, but with the way that it was displayed on the NES, it decided to make a hint system, and it would tell you, it'd be like, hey, that thing in the room is cold, and that'd be your hint that that's what you want to investigate. But as you got further in the game, it got less helpful and just kind of more encouraging. So like, give me a hint. Oh, you'll do fine. Okay, thanks. But
that's when you get the sword.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But it's a fantastic game. Like I said, I can't recommend it enough if you're building a retro collection, and that includes Nintendo stuff.
Did your character get dysentery?
No dysentery. Okay. You can be dissolved by acid. You can get attacked by a wolf woman.
So basically, it's the movie Cube.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's got every trope, every like fantasy thing, gargoyles and things like that. It's I love it. It's going to be a favorite of mine forever. There was a version, I think it was 2014, that was done with like iOS, I think, but I never bothered. I mean, it's just why mess with the classic.
I played this game. I had this game for the NES, but I got it when I was a kid, so I don't think I played it very long.
Yeah, no, I think it's it's not entirely kid friendly. It's not like pick it up and play it like a Mario or something like that. There's definitely a little more reading involved, for one thing.
I remember the box art because I remember I know I had this game.
Oh yeah. It was not it definitely made the rounds. It did well enough on the NES that caused them to publish Deja Vu, which is a similar layout, but you're not the last of kings in the castle. You're a private eye who wakes up in a toilet stall with no memory, and you got to try and put that together. And The Uninvited, which is like a similar concept again, but haunted house, I believe. That one I need to get. I don't think I ever played that one. I have Deja Vu and Shadowgate in the collection, though. This I just actually reacquired this the other day. I was so happy to get this in for the show.
Nice.
I liked it.
As always, well done, sir.
I appreciate it. And as long as people want to see them, I'll keep doing them.
Thanks for making us look bad.
Yeah. I don't know about all that. It's not a whole lot.
Well, I kind of like this idea of, just picking some games that we're playing and showing them off. You inspired us for this. You just, ours just aren't retro.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a.
There will be years from now.
Right. Well, I don't have fancy intros for us.
Well, I do appreciate the effort you put into that. I decided to go with the retro because there's a certain joy to retro gaming. There's a certain simplicity to it. You just put the thing in and play. And
no updates to download.
Yeah, there was no 5 gig patch for this game.
Right, and I don't know. Sometimes it's just it's just kind of simpler. Like, no one is discussing whether or not the knight is a transsexual in this game. You know what I'm saying? No one cares about, is there homosexual romance in this game? There's no politics in none of it. It's just games.
Yeah, it's you having to get to the end.
Yep.
Oh.
And so I love all that, and I thought I'd do, part of the reasoning for doing a segment is because I need to justify why I have 14 consoles sitting around me right now.
Well, there you go. This is how it is.
Mhm.
So you have to. I need a list of those consoles so I can build upon your intro video.
Well, let me take a look here. That was the 8th retro recommendation. That was number 8.
Yes, I think so.
All right, and so I think I'm due the next one up.
You've done NES already. You've done Genesis.
Twice.
You've done and you've done an Xbox already.
That's the only one I've done once. So I need to bust out something like the OX, the PSX, or maybe back to the Genesis.
Can't go wrong going back to the Genesis.
Uh-uh.
I'm just saying.
I agree.
So. All right. So.
I mean, it's not the GOAT, but I mean, it's no SNES, but
No, the GOAT was a
Can't go
Dreamcast. We all know that. All right, so we are over the 3-hour mark,
yeah, it's way past my bedtime.
and Frankie just jumped on. He said, "Holy shit, you guys are still going?" Yeah, we went a little long tonight. Not that there wasn't anything to talk about. No.
There's no news this week.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not. I thought about it. That like and subscribe picture. That's corny. I'm not gonna put that up this week. You guys know what to do. If you like the podcast, click like. If you want to be part of the channel, because we got a whole bunch of other great stuff on the channel that these guys are doing, click subscribe. And if you're subscribed, we love you. Tell a friend. We want to make sure.
Tell your friend's friend too, and
Yeah. Well,
while you're at it, tell your mom.
What I
Yeah,
will
tell your friends'
say,
Tell your dad.
what I will say is, I don't.
Mom's not a podcaster, so.
Right. Just so
Oh,
we
yeah.
know. I don't care
We know.
about honestly I don't care about the likes and the dislikes on the podcast. This is the nature of being out on the internet, and some of it's just is juvenile, and some of it whatever. But in order for us to continue to try to get industry guests on and people that want to come and talk to us, the subscriber thing is kind of important. So hit us up with a sub if you haven't already. So we're gonna wrap this up very quickly because we're coming on 12:30. I'm sure your wonderful job, Juan. You have to work tomorrow, so
5 a.m. wake up time.
yeah. So we're not gonna hold this up very long. Rand, my friend, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. It was
Yes,
an
thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
Good chat.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
I enjoyed the conversation. It was good times. Good times. Love talking about all this stuff with you guys.
Definitely. And real quick, plug your stuff again, including TXR, because we love TXR. TXR is good.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm the host of TXR Podcast, which goes live Mondays, usually around 9 p.m. I also have my own YouTube channel where I do Rand's Rants, which is just my opinion pieces on anything I see out there, or my indie spotlights where I take games that come out and I talk about them, and that's youtube.com/Rand Al Thor 19. So check it out if you got the time.
Those will be in the description as well once I get the description edited. So you guys will be able to click. If you're watching this after our live, we will. If you're watching this, after tonight, that link will be in the descriptions. Definitely check out both of the places that Rand goes to that he has with his channel and TXR. They are it's a great Xbox centric podcast, but you guys talk about anything and everything. And I mean, you've had some great you guys had Seamus Blackley on a couple weeks ago, and that was like dynamite. You guys are the goods, and we love what you do.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
great
that.
work.
So, all right. Thank you so much to the chat room. A lot of people, man, a lot more people held out than I thought would. A couple of them had to drop off because we were running late, but there's still a bunch of good people in the chat room, and Frankie rolled on at the end of it. Thank you guys so much once again for some fantastic conversation. We love you guys. You guys are the reason that we do this. I say it every week, and I mean it every week. Otherwise, the rest of us could just go talking in an Xbox or PS party chat, but we'd rather be here talking to you guys and letting you guys be part of our show, and we love it. So, and of course, the rest of my crew, Peter, Jason, Juan, Nathan, thank you guys again. This looks good. This is a good look for us. And I think
nice.
And I think we
Yeah.
nailed, like,
Very
so far,
nice.
knock on wood. This was a fairly good one as far as no technical glitches. Had a little Nathan outage, but nothing. I think we're getting the hang of this.
You know, Skype gets one of us every week.
It is the
Yeah, I
one
think you
thing.
tripped over your cord.
It was his turn in the barrel.
Yeah. So, but I think this is a good look for us. I think I think we've evolved this thing, and we're going to continue to evolve this thing. And don't forget, for those who are rolling towards E3, we will be doing a live reaction show to the Microsoft press conference. And just to give everybody just a very quick, you won't see. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I know you want to go.
Yeah, you'll see.
It wants to stop.
Yeah, just
on
real
its own.
quick. We won't see anybody down here just yet, but all this room will be
Hey,
here
where'd
for
I
you
go?
guys to watch the press conference in a nice large window while.
Oh, so this is a
talking
Stinger
about-
only show now, is it?
That's right. You guys. Yeah, I didn't tell you
Yeah.
about that part of it. So, yeah, we want you guys to hang out with us Sunday, June 11th for sure. And I have a couple of things that are in the works, as I've said before, but they are becoming a bit more clear and confirmed. I am working on 2 dates right now for guests that as soon as I get the full thumbs up, we will announce. And we will have some great stuff. Oh, thanks, Witty. Thanks, man. His is the one of the dislikes, of course. So I believe it too, you bastard. We love Witty. Anyway,
Witty, the king of dislikes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Play some Ghost Recon and plant some C4 on his ass. And
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Anybody with any bit of
Chopper.
business before we call it a night?
Everybody shoot down Woody's choppers in Ghost Recon.
yeah,
Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon.
Scorpio day one.
Rand,
Yep.
anytime you are welcome back. You know that.
All right.
It is
Well,
open invitation.
yeah. Well, next time, hopefully less than 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Sometimes
hey,
Mike
thanks
likes to
for
talk.
you know what though? Thanks for also talking some games with us and showing us what
Yeah,
you
of
were
course.
playing. So
Of course.
maybe we'll throw up maybe we'll plan something for post E3 because I think a follow-up conversation.
Oh, that would be interesting discussion after what
I
we
think
talked about tonight.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
a
would be good.
follow-up conversation is in order. So
Let's mark that down then.
let's do it. All right, we'll get
Nice.
it together. All right, on behalf of my crew, everybody, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Chat room once again, you guys freaking rock, and that's all there is to it. Once again, thank you to our great guest Rand Al Thor. Please check him out. You see his Twitter. I'll put the description of his channels, including TXR, in the description. Gentlemen, everybody say goodnight.
Peace
Good
out.
night.
Night, everybody.
Later.
Go Leafs, go.
Come on, Peter, say it. Say it.
Ghost Recon.
Ghost Recon.
Play on, gamers. We'll see you next Sunday night at 9 p.m.
Game on.
Unless we're playing Ghost Recon. Oh, here's that outro thing again. That looks exactly like the intro.
I didn't say I had great
Cheap
creativity.
guys making the same frickin' thing.
Nobody pays me for these.
Who's this intrepid teen they're talking about? Him?
Me.
No way. HTK.
Who's that?
Modzoo, get him off there.
Yeah.
I don't even know that guy.
There's a crazy guy.
Fuck.
NatiRedGals.
He doesn't even show up anymore.
Oh,
Frankie.
Frankie.
Radio.
Nobody likes Frankie.
Don't follow us on Twitch.
Does anybody still use Twitch with Beam now?
Don't
Beam
do it.
only
It's
then?
a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a
Yep.
trap.
Whack on
Don't
hard.
don't do the Twitter thing either. You're not welcome. You are not welcome. Get out of here. Get.
You guys are
Get
gonna
off my
you guys
lawn.
aren't going to be happy until until this just says Next Level Gaming.